with England running onto the field, having a total I think they will feel isn't quite as many as they should have got to defend. 220 is the target for India. Alex Hartley, World Cup winner in 2017. England had moments in that innings. People got in, people got out. Do you think that 220 is enough?
Do you know what? India will back themselves to chase this. You know, they've low total. Yes, they've got an average of 207, but if they get off to a good start and they really take advantage of the power play, it's pretty evenly poised at the halfway stage, I would say.
Yeah, and you look at that England innings. Frustration, I think, will be the name of the game. You look at Winfield Hill, 36, Heather Knight, 46, Natsiva, 49, Sophia Dunkley, 28. So lots of starts, but no one could go on and get that 80, 90, 100 even.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about the pitch and the wicket and the way India bowled. The pitch seems very two-paced, quite slow as well at times. But India bowled fantastically. Their spinners were brilliant. Everybody went at fours, which is, you know, what the run rate was. And I always think that's a pretty decent job. And you can tell how people have bowled from obviously their economy rates.
Yeah, there was no one on that list that, you know, really let anyone down or was more expensive and dramatically so to release a little bit of the pressure on England. The weather is the other thing that we're keeping an eye on. At the moment, there is a fair amount of cloud moving fast overhead from the southwest, but there's also quite a lot of blue sky. At the moment, the players are in sunshine, and we're hoping it's going to stay that way.
It doesn't look like it's going to rain at the minute, does it? But we have seen that there's a bit of rain on the radar.
There is a little bit. Right then, here comes Catherine Brunt, blonde hair, running into bowl to the right-handed Shafali Verma. And Verma punching into the offside. No run as Dunkley picks up and throws. And Verma, this 17-year-old prodigy, if she gets going...
Be done in 10 minutes.
It could be done quickly. This is a big chance for India, though, isn't it?
Big chance for India, and a big chance for these two to really prove themselves at the top of the order. I don't think they've necessarily batted all that long together throughout this competition.
In comes Brunt. To bowl to Verma, again defended very solidly into the offside, and there is no run.
Now, we saw in the second ODI that England's plan was to bounce Verma out and just bowl short at her, but Catherine Brunt has gone full these first two deliveries, and I think that says quite a lot about the pitch. The pitch is quite slow, it's quite two-paced, therefore you want Verma on the front foot, you want her driving and you want her to make those mistakes.
Brunt with the ball in hand, and England's field, well, our fielders in the deep. A deep third and a deep mid-wicket as Brunt sprints into bowl to Verma, beaten outside the off stump. Good ball from Brunt, that was quick, a little bit of away movement, and Verma was just groping forward without an awful lot of conviction, that's got to be said.
Yeah, she's just on the front foot, and it's very rare we see a player miss. She leaves the ball well, she strikes the ball well, but she's just trying to angle that one down to third man and missed it. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I've had to move my sunglasses in the way that my dad wears his reading glasses. As Brunt comes in to bowl to Verma, again beaten, and again there's a nervous look behind as if she might have got a little tickle on it, but no damage done. Yeah, because it's so bright outside, there's got to be a sort of two versions of my sight here. The sunglasses for watching what's going on outside, the non-sunglasses for the replay and for talking to you.
Therefore, I thought, when you looked at me like that, I thought I'd done something wrong. I thought I was in trouble.
No, not this time.
Not yet.
Not yet. We sit nervously waiting for that moment. In comes Brunt to bowl to Verma. That's a more solid looking shot. Could be a single there as a misfield from Tammy Bowman to backward point, but they won't manage to scramble through for one. One ball left of the over. India still yet to get up and running.
What a lovely stat I saw at half-time, that Kate Cross has now scored as many sixes as Laura Marsh in international cricket.
She scored more than Charlotte Edwards in one-day internationals.
No. Oh, I need to write that down in the podcast notes.
Brunt running in to bowl to Verma. End of the first over. Verma outside edge will flash down towards deep third. You'll see Verma picking up a single and keeping the strike as well at the start of the second over. So India won without loss. It is worth pointing out that their target of 220 has to come inside of 47 overs because we had a lot of rain in Worcester this morning. And though it is sunny now, it was not the case first thing. And so we do have a little bit of that caveat to focus on as well. Phil Long, our scorer, what have you got?
Well, I was just going to give you a quick bit of maths. 220 divided by 47. It's quite a tough one. 4.68 and over was the Indian run rate at the start.
Did you do that with a calculator?
No, I was thinking of it, and then it flashed up on the scoreboard, and I thought, I'll make a note of that quickly.
Okay. Because we had this the other day, Alex, with you, with a really quite complicated stat that you just chucked out there, and I glanced down to see the calculator app.
It was 139 doubled.
No, it was more complicated than that.
It wasn't. It really wasn't.
Oh no. Here comes Anja Shrubsole then. From the Diglis end, bowling to Verma, playing with a little bit of an angled bat into the onside, twirls it in her hand and prepares to face Shrubsole once again. Marden has been waiting at the non-striker's end for 7 deliveries and yet to get her opportunity. In front of us, Catherine Brunt is having a chat with Freya Davis, one of the England substitute fielders, getting a little drink down at deep third as Shrubsole moves in once more. Sun goes behind a cloud. Shrubsole bowling. Verma pushing into the offside. And there's no run.
Just shows the difference between the two pitches as well, from where we were at Taunton the other day and we're here in Worcester. So they were trying to go back of a length to Shefali Verma and get her on the back foot because it was an absolute belting wicket. The ball was carrying through, it was going through fast. We've got a slower wicket here, so they're having to bowl fuller because the ball would just sit up nicely if they went short.
Shrubsole into bowl to Verma, hits the ball in the air, it's clearing Tammy Beaumont's at backward point, and Brunt will run round from deep third to pick up. It was loose, it was just a little bit risky from Shefali Verma, who perhaps is feeling a bit bogged down, and India are 2 without loss.
Feeling bogged down, we've had 2 overs.
All things are relative, and when Verma has blocked 3 or 4, she gets frustrated. We've seen this.
You know there's a big shot coming.
There's a young fan in front of us who I imagine in 60 years' time he'll be watching cricket in exactly the same way. He can't be more than 4 or 5. Shoes off, socks resting on the seat in front, watching the action, looking happy as can be.
In his England football shirt.
Yeah, he's got his England flag. Maybe when Mum or Dad said, "Do you want to watch the England game today?" Here comes Shrubsole bowling to Mandana into the leg side, and there is no run. Nice defensive push. But we could have a serious game here. I think if we see India get up and running quickly, there might just be that pressure on England. It'd be really interesting to see how England react.
Yeah, it's game on. These 2 are key though for India.
Shrubsole again. Running into bowl to Mandana, who's playing with a straight bat down the ground. Could be a little bit of a risk. No, the throw from Eccleston is not forthcoming, and Mandana is up. And her score is moving. 3 without loss. India chasing 220 for victory from 47 overs. We're into the second over, 1 ball left of it.
It's been a very similar start to England. Just very chilled. Shefali Verma going for the big shot and just going over Tammy Beaumont's head.
Shrubsole sprinting in fast to bowl to Verma, who goes hard over the offside, and that'll be the first boundary of the India innings. It was aggressive and just over pitch from Shrubsole, punished by Verma.
Yep, Shefali Verma shuffling down the wicket there, going towards the leg side, giving herself the space to go over mid-off, and has done exactly that. Just bats turned in her hand at the last minute, she ended up going over extra cover, but she's given herself enough room to play that shot with freedom.
And it's the power play overs, 9 of them in this slightly rain-reduced match, that could be also important for an India side that are sort of top-heavy in terms of the speed of their run scoring.
Yeah, very top heavy, and these 2 haven't, they've not had the best start. We talk about how talented they are and how good they are with the bat at the top of the order, but they haven't done it together yet, so you sense today's the day.
Well, I think if you love the sort of stroke play they play, it's good conditions for it, as Mandana is driving, lovely timing as far as Shrubsole at mid-off, and they've not yet, apart from the test match, in the ODI series and the white ball stuff, they've not really fired as an opening unit.
No, they haven't, and they're both aggressive players, and you're going to fail. Cricket's one of those games where you do fail more times than you succeed, so we're being critical and we're being harsh. because they've got India off to decent starts, but they haven't done it together yet.
Brunt then running in 15 or so paces to bowl to Mandana, who's defending into the onside. Very happy to watch that ball onto the middle of her bat, with the score remaining 7 without loss.
I'm not happy, you know.
Why?
I've got some brand new trousers on, very expensive. I just plucked them under the desk.
What do you mean?
There must be a splinter.
Oh.
Fuming.
Yeah, I was wondering where you'd got those from. They're extraordinary. In comes Brunt to bowl to Mandana. Whipped away down towards long leg for 1. And India 8 without loss.
Are you not a fan, or are you a fan of the flared trouser?
I think that sort of Noddy Holder and Dave Hill of Slade really made it sing in about 1973. But for me now, I don't think it's quite my sort of vibe. No.
Do you think they look all right on me today? Or Crossy wasn't a fan when I went to see her. She said, "Have you got your dad's trousers on, or David Bowie's trousers?" I think she said.
No.
Yeah. But then that girl would take the mick out of me, even if I did look perfect. So
You'd be worried if she didn't. Brunt into bowl to Verma, deep in the crease and defending.
Kate Cross, who hit her first 6 in ODIs earlier today. Just to let you know, Nat Siver has the most 6s for England in ODIs, 19. So she's catching up with her, and she's got a long way to go to catch up with Deandra Dottin, who's top of the international list with 74 ODI 6s.
Wow.
73 to go then, Crossy.
Brunt to bolt to Verma, forward in immaculate defence. There's almost an air with Verma that when she decides she's going to play a defensive stroke, it's almost sort of premeditated, and I'm going to play this absolutely perfectly.
I think the way she goes about her cricket is really intriguing, and it's so good to watch, and we're watching and we're learning about her as a player, but she's very much, I'm going to defend this, I'm going to look solid, and then I'm just going to swing.
Yeah. And you just wait for that moment to happen. Brunt to bowl to Verma, again defended. Off the back foot, Brunt in this intriguing battle between the two of them that's been going through the test match and all these ODIs. At the end of the over, Brunt having conceded just 2 from her couple of overs so far. And India 8 without loss after 3. The target is 219. So Crossy wasn't a fan.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't a fan of the flared trousers. If anyone wants to see them, I'm sure we can stick a picture up.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the fact that you've damaged them. They were very expensive.
I know, but you know what?
Because I was going to suggest taking them back.
I'm leaving. I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving.
Where to? 1973. Shrubsole to bowl to Mandana. There's a sniff in place now as the left-handed India opener drives towards Winfield at mid-on. It remains 8 without loss.
Speaking of 1973, was that the sort of time of where it came home? Because it is coming home.
It was actually 7 years before that.
Well,
66. Yeah. Well, big game tonight.
Big game tonight. Can't go anywhere to watch it though. I'm going to watch it from my hotel room.
I heard that, yeah.
But that's all right.
Here comes Shrubsole. Mandana waiting, chopping down on the ball, running it towards Sarah Glenn at deep third, running in front of that hotel and picking up in the sunshine, 9 without loss.
Rory Burns' favourite building, that hotel.
Yes, as we discovered earlier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like the balconies of it have fallen off over the years as well.
A few windows have the balconies, a few don't. I mean, I don't think anyone who sort of looked at it would think it was a real masterpiece of architecture. The cathedral, on the other hand, is looking spectacular as the sun shines brightly. Shrubsole bowling to Verma, with all the time in the world, runs the ball down to Brunt, who picks up and throws from deep third right in front of us. 10 without loss, India, midway through the 4th over.
You sort of sense these two aren't playing as many shots as they were in the first 2 ODIs, whether or not they've been told that this partnership is key. If India are going to win this game, this is key. They need to bat for longer. Just take their time, get themselves in. You always fear when you tell a player like Verma to rein it in a bit, she'll go the opposite way and lose all the firepower and the talent that got her there.
That's teenagers for you, though, isn't it? In comes Shrubsole bowling to Mandana, down the leg side, signalled wide, 1 on to the total, 11 without loss. You know, a bit like telling a teenager to clean their room.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
No. Yeah, if you look at the scoring rate so far, both going at 50, so it's not been expressed so far. There's a little conversation between umpire Long and Anya Shrubsole about the condition of the ball. England perhaps expecting it to do a little bit more, and so far absolutely nothing. I mean, the decision was made by India to have a bowl first. They wanted to get the most of those damp, dank conditions early on, and Shrubsole and Brunt have yet to really get the ball moving. Shrubsole is in, down the leg side once more. It was quick, but it was errant in its line, and India will get one more run, 12 without loss.
Shrubsole not happy with that one, throwing her head in the air and shouting words we cannot describe.
No, and we won't.
I don't think I would have a job for much longer if I did.
Shrubsole at the end of her mark, looking to try and get that line sorted. The left-handed Mandana is waiting with slip crouching. It's a fuller ball driven down the ground. Work for Winfield to do, who does well at mid-on, tumbling to her right and preventing the single, 12 without loss. We're almost waiting for these two to decide that they're in enough to start swinging.
Yeah, when do they say, right, that's enough now, let's go back to the way we play?
Yeah. Shrubsole, long strides into bowl, and Mandana plays that with immaculate timing, but once again Winfield can pick up, and there is no run. The cathedral is just every so often, it is illuminated by a gap in the clouds and looks spectacular, and then we get these clouds drifting over, and one moment it feels really hot in here, the next temperature drops right down, and we've just got to hope that those clouds rolling in don't bring any rain. Shrubsole bowling to Mandana once more, as far as Lauren Winfield, only 3 in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I get a sense now that it doesn't look like it's going to rain. It looks nice, and then you look over there and it's very dark.
It is a little bit, and we'll have a little check of the radar. End of the over, I should say. 4 gone, 12 without loss.
Well, you check the radar. Yeah, the opening partnership between these two, Verma and Mandana, in this series so far. In the Test match, they added 167 in that first innings. Following on, they added 29, and in the ODIs so far, they've added for the first wicket 23, 56, and they're 12 without loss today.
I can tell you on the radar, it looks as though in about half an hour Cheltenham's going to get quite a lot of rain. Driving is Verma, half stopped in the covers by Dunkley, but they will get through for 1. 13 without loss, Verma on to 8. And we're sort of in a little bit of a gap between a few things here in Worcester, and we could get lucky. It's going to get darker and murkier, I think, but we may avoid some of the rain.
Oh, well, fingers crossed we get a full game in because, well, the 47 overs.
Yes.
Because cricket's rubbish when it rains. It just spoils it.
It doesn't work quite as well, certainly.
No, it doesn't. You know, fair weather sports people only, cricketers.
In comes Brunt. Mandana on strike. Swivelling, pulling the ball away, and what a good shot that is. 4 runs around the corner. Picked up perfectly for a first boundary for Smriti Mandana. India 17 without loss.
Yep, Catherine Brunt just going back of a length to Smriti Mandana there, and as we feared, the ball just sits up really nicely off this surface. It's quite slow. The ball getting up to around knee roll height, and Mandana shoveling it into the leg side for 4.
So Mandana just showing the sort of class that hasn't really been on display in this series so far. That's a nice looking drive into the offside. Cross crouches in the covers and prevents the run. And these two, if they get going, it could be really spectacular.
We've had a delivery.
Yes, some bottles of water have arrived.
Oh.
You were hoping for cakes, weren't you?
Cakes, fizzy drinks, the lot.
In comes Brunt to bowl to Mandana. Again driving, this time no chance for Kate Cross. And it's 4 glorious runs. Through the covers, like a tracer bullet across the outfield. That is such a good shot. 21 without loss.
A beautiful shot that from Mandana. Catherine Brunt falling over as she bowled that delivery, swinging away from the right-hander, or kind of going with the angle, just outside the off stump, and going to the right of Kate Cross at the covers. I mean, to the pull shot the ball before and then to that. That's the Smitty Mandana that we all know and love, because she's so elegant with the bat.
She's got 11 from 13, with India 21 without loss in the 5th over. Brunt sprinting in, right arm over once again, and almost in defiance, Mandana defends very comfortably back towards mid-on.
When she's at her best, she's so good to watch.
Yeah.
She plays so elegantly.
There was a few innings in the Kia Super League, particularly at Taunton, that were extraordinary. Hundreds, 90s, 80s, that seemed to just be 6, 4s. You know, remarkable, different league kind of innings. Brunt bowling to Marner, outside edge, flies through backward point, and it's going to bring more runs. A roar of frustration from Brunt. And another boundary to Smriti Mandana. 25 without loss.
Catherine Brunt getting frustrated. There's nothing you can do about that, though. You've got your slip, your gully, your short third inside the ring, your backward point, and she just edges it past everyone. That's just one of those things at cricket, and we all know Catherine Brunt, when she gets frustrated, when she gets angry, she doesn't necessarily play as well, so she needs to just stay level-headed. And we don't want to be seeing that steam coming out of her ears like we did in the test match.
Yeah, all the other night. When things weren't quite going the way of the England all-rounder, who's now just fielding in front of us, so don't say anything too loudly, Alex. 25 without loss after 5 overs. Verma is on 8, waiting for Shrubsole, and she's defending into the leg side. Wants a single, and that's a good run. It's a confident single from this pair.
And one that we've not seen. They've just Verma running singles. I thought she only dealt with boundaries.
Yeah, this is all round today. India have seemed to have slightly more verve. And just in the field, with the ball, this partnership already, it just seems to be a little bit more energy.
It's such an important game for India. If they lose this, they can't win the series. So they know they have to be up and about. They have to play their best to keep the series alive.
Shrubsole to Mandana, again deep in the crease, happy to defend. And so much rests on these two. 26 without loss.
I was just doing the maths that they can't win the series.
They can't win the series. So the multi-format series, 4 points available for the test match. That was drawn, so that was 2 each, and then 2 points each for the white ball game. So England, having won a couple of them, currently lead by 6 points to 2. If England were to win this game, then the best India could do from the 3 T20s would be to draw. Mandana dropping the ball into the offside, where Beaumont will field at backward point. And we're midway through the 6th over, 26 without loss.
Our mate's not getting bored of holding his sign up in front of us either, shouting, "Come on, England."
Yeah, he's got a good England flag there.
Homemade, that one, as well.
It looks it, certainly.
Oh, he's even folded it and put it in his pocket.
I think certainly a big football fan, certainly a big cricket fan. He enjoyed the England innings, some of the big hitting at the end. Here comes Shrubsole, bowling to Mandana, who's driving down the ground, work for Eccleston to do. She's half stopped it. And done enough to prevent anything more than a single. Pretty well there, Sophie Eccleston. 27 without loss.
Yep, just dive into her left-hand side. Sort of a flop rather than a dive from Sophie Eccleston.
Yeah, it was not exactly, sort of leaping with complete freedom and verve, perhaps. Here comes Shrubsole bowling to Verma. 27 without loss. Shrubsole in, chipped in the air, just over the hands of Shrubsole. That might have been a chance, you know.
Shrubsole didn't get off the floor there, did she? She just sort of stuck her hand out half-heartedly, but I think that was a chance for Anya Shrubsole.
So we see the replay now. It was full, kind of nothing shot. It was just out of the reach of Shrubsole's left hand. One of those that could have gone anywhere. In the end, it evades the England fast bowler.
Would have been a specky catch.
That, to translate, that means a very good catch. Yeah?
Yeah, in cricket terms.
Okay.
We play a game as the helmet's just being run on for Amy Jones. She's going to stand up to the stumps. We play a game, the Lancashire Thunder, where we have a bit of a laugh. We take speckies only. So if you have a catch, you have to just throw a little dive in to make it look better. To which I did very well the other night when we played against Ireland at Old Trafford. And everyone just laughed at me and said, "You are a disgrace."
You're the captain. You should be leading by example. Shrubsole bowling to Verma, running the ball off the toe end of the bat down towards deep third, where Brunt will throw. And that is the end of the over. 6 gone, 28 without loss. And India have got up and running with a very solid start here. Verma has 10, Mandana 16. And a few more thoughts from you as our England fan in front of us starts a little dance with his flag, and then it'll be Daniel Norcross.
What a belter! I love his flag. I'm gonna go and see if he's had a nice day after when I finish my little stint on the commentary. He'll probably tell me to go away, no doubt. But yeah, a decent start from both teams. England at this point were 21 for 1, India 28 for none. Just seem to be a little bit more reserved and playing the ball on its merit and not forcing the boundaries. India.
They are, aren't they? Which is a disappointment for England fans, but splendid for the Indian contingent here as Brunt comes in from the pavilion end, and Verma just again guides this ball down to deep third for a single. I've only really seen her batting this summer. She's only 17, I suppose. Saw a little bit of her in the World T20, but what I've noticed is that we're now into the 4th game. This is the 5th time we've seen her bat, and she's just a lot more measured today, I think, than she has been in previous innings, and she's been getting gradually more measured. It's an ominous sight.
She learns quickly, doesn't she?
She does.
And it's fantastic to see because she's so young, but as I said, she just learns on the job and learns very quickly.
She's leaning on her bat at the non-striker's end now as Mandana pulls vigorously out to deep backward square. Good diving stop. Does prevent the boundary. Out there at deep backward square by Sophia Dunkley. 2 more to the total. 30 without loss. Mandana. So 1 more to the total. Was that it? 1.
A brilliant bit of fielding that from Sophia Dunkley, pulled into the leg side from Smriti Mandana, a full length diving stop, and you know you've done well when you even get the clap of approval from Catherine Brunt herself.
Yeah, she wasn't saying how come they got a single. I mean, actually they should have got 2 there because Mandana just looked at the shot and believed it was going for 4, didn't she, I think, and ambled through as Brunt's in again, and Verma gets up on her toes and works a slightly shorter ball to short mid-wicket when Nat Siva runs in to do the fielding. Has Phil, have you identified a meteorological disturbance?
It looks darker, doesn't it? And it's coming this way.
I've still got the sunglasses on. I have full faith.
You do, yeah. Are those ones you bought in the shop?
These are the ones I'm going to Magaluf after in these.
Brunt in, short bouncer, which doesn't actually miss the stumps by an enormous amount. She had to get right down, did Verma, to avoid that. And it wasn't taken cleanly by Jones, but well enough, because she would have been unsighted as Verma ducked the last minute.
Yep, the slow pitch, that ball just not getting up.
Could have hit the bat that was sticking like above her head like a periscope there.
Wasn't far away from the stumps at all, probably chest height for Amy Jones.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Here comes Brunt again. Verma just gives herself a bit of room and then guides this ball back with a square on the offside, but can't beat the field. And there is no run again. You can see how slow the pitch is from that, isn't it? I mean, when we think how many bouncers we've seen Catherine Brunt bowling in the tests and the 2 ODIs, and they've all of them gone shoulder height or above, haven't they? Amy Jones has always been taking them around about her head.
Yep.
That, it just died in the pitch. I wonder. Brunt in. Last ball, the over hit high in the air, over the top of mid-off. It's going to skip away for 4. An ambitious shot on the up. It was not a long half volley. She's just taken a step back into her crease and then transferred her weight and whacked it over mid-off up to the boundary for 4. And Brunt will not enjoy that one bit. 34 without loss after 7, India.
That's the Shafali Verma we know. She was just prodding at the ball in the previous deliveries, a bit pokey. Pokey's banned, Verma. You've got to play it like that. You've got to keep playing over the top, hitting those glorious shots.
Don't be pokey, is that the advice?
No pokey.
Well, she almost plays it like a straight pull, doesn't she? There's a lot of bottom hand in that. She goes, and it wasn't that short, and it certainly wasn't that full. Brunt probably, if she could have gone to the pitch and put the ball where she wanted to put it, it would have been pretty much where it landed. Right. Shrubsole is going to continue from the Diglis end, whence these dark, angry demented clouds are arriving, and Mandana drives beautifully through extra cover for 4. That's the difference between these two. One bludgeons you over the top, and Mandana elegantly, gracefully, like David Gower or Kumara Sangakkara, just strokes the ball, the boundary for 4.
Another fantastic cover drive from Mandana. The ball just outside the off stump. Plays that in such a beautiful position, so well balanced, and just threading the ball through the offside.
Shrubsole will be annoyed with herself there. It's a long half volley, but beautifully executed from Mandana. The next delivery is also full, not quite as full, and Mandana can only push this to short extra. There's no run. 38 without loss.
A better line that ball as well from Shrubsole, much straighter.
She is, in theory, going to be taking the ball away from the left-hander. It's got no slip in. Knight, interestingly, has positioned herself at short, fine leg. Normally you'd see her in the ring, wouldn't you? As Shrubsole's into Mandana, who cuts but can't beat backward point. There's no run. Tammy Beaumont does the fielding.
She was at slip, and just for ease of the game and to get through the overs, I think she's just decided to put herself a short fine.
No point moving.
I think that's the beauty of what position this England team are in as well now. Heather Knight, famously known for being at extra cover, Nat Siver at mid-wicket, but this England team have worked so hard on their fielding. They're all capable of fielding anywhere. They're all unbelievable fielders.
Shrubsole in. Mandana drives up to mid-off. Eccleston fields, there's no run along the ground. It's a beautiful sight, this opening pairing. This is your favourite opening pairing at the moment? Mandana and Verma?
I think, yeah.
For contrasts,
yeah, they are, definitely. And the way they go about their cricket, they're both aggressive, but one's more aggressive than the other. One plays in the air, one plays along the ground.
Must be difficult to bowl to, I would have thought. It's that short, and that dabbed away nicely through backward point, running away to the boundary, and it will be 4. All about the placement there. There was a deep backward point, almost a wide, deep third, but she managed to cut that to the right of Tammy Beaumont behind square at point inside the ring, to the left, the fielder up there on the boundary. That's a lovely shot. Lovely shot. This is what I mean, you know, that ball, Verma's doing something very different with. It's kind of like chopping action, whereas Mandana's just gliding it. Field settings have got to be different. Yep, lines and lengths have got to be different. 42 without loss, India. They're getting off to a great start here in the 8th over. Shrubsole moves in to complete the over, and it's driven again by Mandana, but she can't beat the diving Dunkley. And there's no run. End of the 8th over, 42 without loss. Verma has 15. Mandana has 25. You've picked up your glasses in a way that suggests you're... Don't think, are you?
Well, no, I'm not going anywhere, but I was just thinking, actually, I picked them up because now it's going to rain all day. Do you think the club shop will accept a return?
You want a refund because of the weather? I think in COVID times, I mean, I don't know, I suppose if you took some of these antibacterial cleansing surface wipes, actually, if you signed them, you could probably sell them to someone for more than you bought them.
Sell them for a £5.
Well, give them that lad down there, he'd love them.
He would. England's
Right.
#1 fan right in front of us.
Change of bowler, and it's straight off the back of her 5 wickets, and well, even more, straight off the back of her first ODI 6. It's Kate Cross. I'm impressed with the bat earlier today. She runs in from the pavilion end. Her first delivery to Verma is short, punched off the back foot. Can't beat Dunkley again, who's in the ring on the offside. There's no run. Have you seen her bat like that before?
Yeah, she's a good batter, is Kate Cross. Yeah, I think we were saying about her 6, but Shafali Verma was just totally in the wrong place. She was about 5-10 yards in off the boundary. And had Shafali Verma been on the ring, on the boundary rope, sorry, it would have been a very simple catch.
Don't say that to her, though. Ball, push the defence up to mid-off, there's no run. Genuinely, do you think, in my experience, bowlers remember their 6s better than their wickets? So I do as you know, I do a little show with Stephen Finn, and he remembers with great clarity the 6 he hit at Brisbane, various other 6s, but he can't quite recall his wickets quite the same clarity, you know. Cross in, oh, that's played and missed that. Verma looking for that angled dab down to deep third, and it's Amy Jones is standing up the stumps, whips off the bails. she's home.
So if Kate Cross gets wickets today, do you think she'll remember her 6 and not how she got Shafali Verma out?
What will she be most happy with, do you think? Because
secretly her 6.
It's a 6, isn't it? I think it's a 6. She runs in once more. Verma comes forward in perfect defence. She can play a perfect forward defensive push, which she has done on this occasion. Plays into the offside, fielded by Knight, and there's no run.
Verma just taking a big deep breath there. She's trying not to get frustrated, but she's 15 off 27, which is unheard of.
She's just done the thing that I comment on. She's just made the little brush with the bottom of her bat. I think she's going to go after this ball. Let's see. Cross in, and Verma goes after this ball, clatters it over. Cover for 4. 46 without loss.
Dan, I am giving you a round of applause because you think she sweeps the floor before she's going to play a big shot.
I do.
You have asked statisticians to
I asked Sky to take a look, didn't I?
Yeah, and they said you're not right. They said you were wrong.
Well, what they said was that they have found her doing it and score it and hitting and going after it, and then they found times when she hasn't done it. So you can't be certain. But I don't know, there's something about that little tick. She's gone after it again. It's in the high in the air. She could be caught and is. Heather Knight takes the catch. Verma has got to go. She went after the previous ball, clattered it to the boundary. Then her eyes lit up. A full delivery from Kate Cross. She thought she could get it over the infield. Instead, she spooned a catch off the toe end up to Knight, and Verma has got to go.
And to throw it back to the ground as it was caught.
Well, she must get frustrated with herself because she knows what she can do. India 46 for 1, and a much needed breakthrough for England and for Kate Cross.
Yeah, Shafali Verma, she'd gone about her batting in so calculated today. She hadn't played all these expansive shots. 19 from 29 delivery. It's unheard of for Shafali Verma, the youngster. Normally a strike rate of 100 plus. She's just got one too many. She'd gone after the previous ball and hit it for 4. That ball just wasn't quite there for her.
Do you know when a batter is really annoyed with themselves, they walk off holding the toe of the bat, so they've got the bat upside down, and she was very much angrily gripping the toe of her bat like she hated this thing.
Well, she actually threw it on the floor first, so she's not happy with it. I think that one's going in the bin. It doesn't work.
Goodbye, Hartley. We'll be back in half an hour. Oh yes. Sorry, we have to wipe everything. I can't open that bag, so I'm leaving it to you. 46 for 1. What's the tale of Verma's innings there, Phil?
19 from 29, 3 fours. They added 46 for that first wicket. We're just looking also in T20 internationals. They've batted together 20 times, 200 partnerships and 350 partnerships. So you'd imagine lots to come from those two in the future.
Well, you certainly would. It was a very entertaining while it happened. This is not an easy pitch by any means to advance the score if you're the sort of person who wants to go after the ball. Verma is very much a kind of come at the ball type batter. Mandana is very much a wait for the ball type batter. And England, I think, have bowled a bit poorly to Mandana, but they bowled pretty well to Verma, I thought, Isabel Westbury.
Yes, indeed, and I think England's batters are more come-at-em batters as well, and I don't think any of them left the field satisfied today. Lots of disgruntled batters walking back to the pavilion.
It's frustrating, isn't it? If you get a slow pitch and it's not really happening, and Sophie Eccleston starts her first over, first delivery is full and driven to mid-on by Mandana, there's no run. You just sort of, if exactly as you say, if you're a sort of come-at-them batter, then you get very frustrated if the ball sticks in the pitch. Eccleston, key phase of the game for England here, is into the left-handed Mandana, goes back into a crease and works the ball back to the bowler. There's no run.
He had a very teenage tantrum, petulant walk-off from Verma there. She flung her back to the ground. It's the kind of thing that I'd do as a teenager, slamming my bedroom door.
I played with a man in his 50s who did that. Still well into his 50s. Next delivery, pushed it to the onside. There's no run. He was a lovely fellow, but when he got his 6th or 7th successive duck, yes, a lot of the kit got thrown all over the place before he'd actually got off the ground. Full and driven, straight to short extra, and there's no runs. Knight does the fielding.
Just looking over at the England dugout, wondering what's going through Lisa Kitely's mind, England head coach at the moment.
Eccleston from the Diglis end bowls a flatter, shorter ball, which Mandana goes back into a crease, pushes back at the wicket. There's no run.
Frustrated but optimistic, would you feel?
Well, I think optimistic, yes. I think once the ball gets a bit softer, it's very hard to force the pace as this full delivery is driven square. The wicket can't beat the field. End of the over. Was that a maiden?
It was. Dan, it was the first maiden of the day.
Oh, I say.
Yeah, that was
What
a
a time to be alive.
wonderful statistic from Phil. It was 46 for 1 after 10 overs. And in England's innings, they didn't have any maidens, but they also had 94 dot balls in succession. No, 94 balls without boundary.
94 balls
without a boundary.
Yeah, singles weren't too problematic to come by, but boundaries really, really were, weren't they? Mm-hmm. And it was right at a crucial part of the innings, from the 27th over through to the 43rd, 42nd, 43rd. It was that sort of period. Obviously, when England were looking to accelerate, and they just couldn't. Kate Cross, who picked up 5 wickets in the last match. She's got the breakthrough today. She's fast becoming the most important seamer in this team, and she runs away from us full. Forward in defence comes Jemima Rodrigues to her first ball, pushes it to the offside. There's no run.
I think I want to categorise batters from here on in as come at me or wait and see.
Oh yeah, do you like that?
Just those, no left hand, right hand, or attacking or
so wait and
defensive.
See's a Gower. Come at me would be like Robin Smith.
Yeah.
I think Sivers a come at me.
I think so.
Cross in, that's short, played off the back foot. Rodrigues plays back to the square on the offside. There's no run. Rodrigues to me feels like a wait and see.
Well, I think we've got 2 quite similar style batters here, a right hand, left hand combination, very elegant batters in Mandana and Rodrigues.
Dipti Sharma's a come at me.
Yep, Verma is a come at me.
Come at me very much.
I think most of England's women's team is a come at me's actually.
Yeah, Beaumont is. Cross in, and play from the back foot to a full delivery, but she finds the middle of the bat, pushes into the offside, no run.
Whereas I think with this kind of chase, a wait and see is quite useful. And I think Matali Raj probably wait and see as well.
You think these 3 here,
are the sort of the key wait and sees.
Core, where's Harmanpreet?
I think she's a bit of a come at me.
Yeah. I think I agree. Cross in again, just back of her length. Very good bowling from Cross. She's giving nothing away at all. It's defended back up the wicket to mid on. There's no run. This is I like this. This is a good way of looking at it, I think.
Especially in a run chase that is a neither here nor there run chase. It's it's not
4 and a bit.
Yeah, 4 and a bit. We're looking at the current run rate's 4.3. The required now 4.8. It's it's always within grasp, and I feel like it will be the whole way through this innings.
You would imagine as Cross into Rodrigues down the leg side, a wide is signal, brilliantly, expertly taken by Amy Jones again. Standing up. Amy Jones probably spends, I don't suppose you keep a note of this, Phil, but probably about 3 overs out of every 50 standing back. And the rest of the time, she's standing up. Here comes Cross once more. The cathedral looking over. That's full, defended perfectly with a high elbow. Sort of the perfect textbook forward defence into the offside. No run once more.
And Rodrigues has got something to say as well, or would want to. She got 8 from 15 in her last innings. Remember, she was one of the 3 changes in the Indian lineup from the first ODI.
Left out of the test. Crosses into her. That's wide outside the off stump. Left alone. Through to Jones. End of the over. Just the wide from it. India 47 for 1. 11 overs have gone. That wicket of Verma just making things a little different here. More thoughts from Isabel Westbury and then take you through the next 20 minutes. It is the returning Stefan Schemmelt.
Some more really disciplined bowling from Kate Cross. We saw her in the first ODI just get 1 wicket, but good run rate, hovering around 3, the most economical bowler for England. But if that was her, she wasn't fully rewarded for it. Last match she was a 5 for. She's got the big wicket here as Sophie Eccleston is going to come and bowl from the Diglis end, Stefan.
Here is Eccleston over the wicket. There's a powerful strike down the ground, just out of the reach of the mid-off fielder. It's Mandana who's going aerial. And Anya Shrubsole just moving to her left, sort of waved the ball on its way. India move on to 51 for 1, Mandana 29. Could Anya Shrubsole have made a better fist of getting towards this, Isabel?
You feel as though she withdrew her hand quite early on, as sort of that's not going to be anywhere near. Quite late to move to it as well. Tricky opportunity if it was one.
Eccleston behind the sunglasses. Mandana drives up towards cover, or the deep cover fielder out on the offside fence. 52 for 1. It was a bit like, you know, if you try to wave to someone and they haven't seen you, then you pretend, oh no, I wasn't waving anyway.
You just withdraw it. Yeah, no, I can see that, but I am sceptical as to whether it was actually a chance, but it's one of those you think, risky to have withdrawn.
Eccleston, the left arm spinner, is going to bowl round the wicket to the right-handed Rodrigues. It's in now as Eccleston. Rodrigues looks for a late cut, but England have got a fielder in position for that stroke. Sophia Dunkley, short third man, pretty much on the line of slip. I'm peering over Dunkley's right shoulder. That's the view we've got. Behind square on the offside. Eccleston waits, walks, then skips into her action. Rodrigues drives up towards mid-off. She's faced 8 deliveries now, Rodrigues, yet to get off the mark. We saw this at Taunton. Eventually she did, with a pretty wild hack. She didn't hang around for too much longer. She only made 8 before she was dismissed by Kate Cross. Eccleston to an out, shorter, flatter, quicker. She wants a single. Yeah, Rodrigues does get it as Tammy Beaumont slides across the ground at point. So Rodrigues away from her 9th ball. India move on to 53 for 1. Their target is 220 to beat England in this third one-day international and claw 2 points back in the multi-format series.
Very fidgety player, isn't she, Rodrigues?
Mandana, orange number 18 on her back. Eccleston bowls, that's full. Mandana digs it out towards short third. End of the 12th over. India are 53 for 1. Mandana has 30, Rodrigues has 1. Target is 220. Remember, this game's 47 overs aside after rain and a wet outfield caused play to be delayed by an hour and a half this morning. Got a bit of a confession to make, Izzy.
Oh.
I feel a bit full.
Now, why does that surprise me, Stefan? I think you should explain to all our listeners why you might feel a little bit full.
Well, lunch arrived. It's a late lunch for all the media.
This is after you've had your chicken tikka pasty at 11's, right?
That was a brunch.
Right.
Kate Cross tries to start a new over, but it's aborted as Rodrigues steps away. So then lunch came at the change of innings, and that was a late lunch because that was easily 4 o'clock, wasn't it? Later than that. 3:30? Was it 3:30? Thanks, Phil. So I ate mine. Chicken, potatoes, greens in a spicy sauce. Spectacular. Really enjoyed it. You might have been in trouble if you didn't like spicy food. I loved it. Cross, number 16, bowls to Rodrigues. Pushes with a straight back to mid-off and there's no run. And then, just as I was, sniffing around the press box.
As you do, Stefan. Hovering, I remember, with intent, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
Loitering with intent,
Yeah.
You know that in some places that's illegal.
Amber was outside making a social media video and had left a good 3/4 of her lunch.
She was just pacing herself like any sensible person might.
So I just left her a little note. Cross bowls again to Rodrigues. There's an appeal for LBW given! Kate Cross strikes again. You can't keep her out of the wickets at the moment. Rodrigues and Mandana have a conversation. Rodrigues reviews. Now, I do think there might have been a hint of an inside edge, but the fact that Rodrigues needed to chat to Mandana to confirm the intent to review suggests not. It might have been both pads. If this decision is upheld, India will be 53 for 2 and Rodrigues will be on her way for 1. Isabel Westbury.
I'm feeling more confident in an England shirt as far as this review is concerned. Now, has she got an inside edge on this? We're going to have a look. Now, she might well have done,
Here it comes.
She might well have done. I reckon we might have a little spike on Snicko. So just seeing the replay. And it does look as though she's got a tickle of an inside edge.
Umpire Russell Warren, the Nigel Long was at square leg. Russell Warren gave it out. Now Nigel Long's walking back to his position at square leg, straight towards the screen, getting a great look at the replay. The thing is, the bat and the pad are quite close together. It's bat, ball and pad all there as one, so it's just deciphering what's been hit first. But it looks like we're about to get the decision overturned.
So a good review then from India once this is confirmed.
So Rodriguez survives on one, having been given out to LBW to Kate Cross. And India remain 53 for 1. And Kate Cross, who took 5 wickets at Taunton, has already taken the first wicket to fall today. Will have to wait for another. Was a pretty, in the end, reasonably clear inside edge, but it also hit both pads, so you can see why Russell Warren gave it out. If there hadn't been an inside edge, stone dead. Cross again to Rodriguez. Classical cover drive straight to Heather Knight, who I think creeps closer at extra cover with every passing game I see her play.
Just looming there, isn't she? A bit like you're looming over Amber's lunch.
Well, yeah, and so Amber was outside making a video for social media, so I just
doing her job, yeah.
Just doing her job, yeah. And so I just wrote on the cardboard box, "Are you going to eat this?" Cross has got brown hair. She bowls to Rodriguez, who's trying to square drive off the front foot, straight to point, and there's no run. Rodriguez has 1 from 13 balls, and that includes overturning an LBW decision. And so Amber came back and very generously said, well, she said, I've eaten a lot of snacks today. I was just pacing myself with this. I'm probably not going to eat it all.
It's peer pressure, that.
I know it wasn't. I just asked an innocent question.
Did you?
Anyway, she did volunteer, I reckon, more than half of her lunch. So I've eaten 1.5 lunches, followed it up with a cup of tea and 3 biscuits. Feel a bit full. Cross to Rodriguez, turns it on to the onside. Siver with a throw. They're going to have to be quick. Mandana's home, even though Jones has got the bails off. Nigel Long, the square leg umpire, is interested in having another look. Score moves on to 54 for 1.
It's basically one of those in-between innings lunches where you don't want to be opening the bowling.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Well, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to be opening the bowling at any
what I was getting
at any point. Yeah. But my concern is always, where does my next meal come from? And so, after this, I've got a long drive home. Wanted to make sure that I'd be okay. So maybe my eyes were bigger than my belly. Cross to Mandana to complete the over, outside half of the bat, guided down towards third. If you're being cruel, you'd say it was an edge, but I think that's very deliberate from Mandana. End of the 13th over, an eventful one which saw Jemima Rodriguez overturn being given out LBW. India 55 for 1, Mandana 31, Rodriguez has 2.
There is some sort of cacophony of metallic musical instrument beneath us, a bit like a... I'm thinking of sort of horses' hooves and...
Oh, have you ever seen one of those toys that you wind up and they bash together the cymbals?
Yes.
Like that. Hear it now.
I'm thinking of sort of Monty Python and coconuts.
Yeah. The 2 chaps scoring in front of us are still going. One's covered up his maroon t-shirt with a black jacket. Sophie Eccleston begins a new over at the far end with a left arm spin. Mandana slides the bat across her front pad to take a single out towards deep mid-wicket. 56 for 1 India. Remember, you're able to see highlights of this game on the red button from 9 o'clock tonight. Of course, that is peak football time. Ukraine versus England in the quarterfinals of Euro 2020 will be live on BBC Radio 5 Live, so you can catch up with the highlights on the iPlayer. As Eccleston bowls to Rodriguez, just can't get going, forces the ball back to the bowler and there's no run. If you can't wait for the highlights, you can see all the clips now on the BBC Sport website and app. Tomorrow, the third one-day international between England's men and Sri Lanka from Bristol on Test Match Special, play beginning at 11 o'clock. Eccleston again to Rodriguez, inside half of the bat. Just nothing looks comfortable for Jemima Rodriguez at the moment. This time she does get a single as the ball scoots towards the vacant square leg region, but there was no conviction about the stroke. It was inside half of the blade. She's on 3 from 16. India women 57 for 1. All the momentum sucked from them after that wicket of Shafali Verma. Required rate is touching 5 and over. Eccleston to Mandana, defends with a straight bat. And there's no run. England's change bowling doing the job. Catherine Brunt and Anya Shrubsole both going at more than 5 and over. Kate Cross has 1 for 7 from 3. Eccleston no wicket for 8 in her third over. Mandana drives just wide of mid-off. That'll be 4 runs. Anya Shrubsole again, not having the best time in the field. She sort of escorted that one past her. Maybe it was worth a dive. But Mandana gets 4 from a classical drive. And the score moves on to 61 for 1.
Just seeing a bit of frustration there from Eccleston. I think she doesn't feel as though Shrubsole was in the right position at mid-off.
2 straight?
Yeah. Although you tend to have them straight.
1 delivery, the 14th remaining. Mandana clips this up towards long on for a single. So what would have been a good over from Eccleston actually turned out to go for 6, is that right, Phil? 7.
I think that's quite harsh on your fielder. I think that was more an outlet of frustration from Eccleston than it was the fault of Shrubsole there at mid-off. Because as a spin bowler, you tend to have your mid-off and mid-on quite straight. And especially someone like Eccleston, who tends to bowl it quite full.
62 for 1 is the score after 14. I'm going to throw a theory at you in this over, Isabel. I'll let you ruminate over it. We should have time as Kate Cross gets into her 4th over. Amy Jones up to the stumps, crouches behind Smriti Mandana, who defends with a straight bat. Now earlier on when it was raining before the start of this game, Henry Moran asked the question to Alex Hartley and I, should England be looking to experiment in this series? Is particularly in this game with 2 one-dayers won, was this a chance to look at some other options? And I said, well, they've only got 5 one-day internationals against New Zealand after this, before the Ashes and the World Cup. Is this the time to experiment? I thought not really. Kate Cross bowls to Mandana. Nat Siver at cover, hurls at the non-striker stumps and misses. I think Rodriguez was home anyway. But I did get a message from someone saying to me this was actually the ideal time to experiment, to bring in someone like an Emily Arlott, who was released from the squad, or an Izzy Wong, who wasn't even in the squad, to blood a young bowler. Cross with a white towel poking out the back of her trousers, bowls to Mandana. They want a single. Tammy Beaumont at point can't prevent the run. The score moves on to 63 for 1, halfway through the 15th over. And what England could have done is rotated a Brunt and a Shrubsole. Where does that sit with you?
I think it's a really interesting suggestion, but I think that we're almost trying to approach it in the same way that we'd approach men's cricket in their build-up to World Cups or an Ashes series, for example.
Cross stomps into Rodriguez. That's full. Rodriguez plays about the stroke of most conviction she has done so far. It's only for a single. Down towards long leg. 64 for 1.
But I would land on the fact that England women and any other international women's team don't play enough international cricket, competitive cricket, to be resting and rotating your key players.
An Arlott or a Wong would be a point of difference though, wouldn't they, in the attack? Cross leans back as she bowls to Mandana, who with all the class that she possesses turns off her pads out towards deep square leg, down towards the cathedral for another single. 65 for 1.
But we know that Lisa Kitely, head coach, is very efficient, sort of no nonsense. I'm going to pick my best 11. And so she's going to pick her best 11 leading up. If you've only got a handful of matches, which is what we have, before an Ashes, before a World Cup, you're picking your best 11.
Cross to complete the 15th over, bowls to Rodriguez, who with a lovely high front elbow drives up to Heather Knight at extra cover. There's no run, 15 gone. India is 65 for 1. Mandana has 39, Rodriguez has 4. The target is 220 from 47 overs. At this point, England was 61 for 1. So India are 4 runs ahead. England sort of decelerated towards the end, the clatter of wickets.
Yeah, that's a really interesting comparison, that. But no, I think that if this was England's men with multi-formats having to, almost an overkill of multi-formats, lots of cricket to be played, then you do bring in rest and rotation. But I just think all of these players need as much match practice as they possibly can.
Eccleston starts a new over at the far end. Mandana plays the ball back to her.
I don't know if you would agree with this, Izzy, but I think there's every chance this could be England's 11
Yeah.
in that opening, maybe ODI of the Ashes series.
No, I think that's probably pretty fair, to be honest.
Eccleston again over the wicket to Mandana. forced up towards mid-on. They'll take a single and move on to 66 for 1.
Anya Shrubsole gave the press conference yesterday, the pre-match press conference, and she was really interesting. She gave a little bit of an insight into how much she struggled really during the pandemic and during the Derby bubbles, and she was just not match fit. She hadn't played any international cricket.
Eccleston round the wicket to Rodrigues, down the track, basically kicking the ball away, using the pad as a second line of defence.
And she had a pretty poor, by her standard, series in Derby against the West Indies in a series where England absolutely trampled all over the opposition. For her, it certainly weren't the returns you'd expect.
Eccleston again as Nedges are taken behind. Jones juggles it. It's not out, says Nigel Long. Now I think England might fancy a review here. Jones is showing the ball to Heather Knight. Straight away Heather Knight makes a T sign, and I'll be honest, I think Rodrigues has edged this. Isabel Westbury's got her finger up as well. Rodrigues on 4. Don't forget she's already overturned, being given out LBW to Kate Cross on 1. Saved by an edge is an edge. Now going to see her on her way. England are pretty convinced.
Neat bit of symmetry that there, Stefan.
It's not just thrown together, Isabel.
I know.
So all eyes on the big screen, which is away to our right. It's over deep extra cover as you look. In fact, so the ball might have just gone between inside edge and pad. Now I'm certain this appeal was for a catch behind.
Yeah, same. Because Heather Knight went to Amy Jones.
But I think this has hit the top of Rodrigues' front pad, which may bring LBW into play. What do we think, Isabel? It's almost like the ball may be jammed in between the inside edge and the pad. There's definite spike on ultra. It's hit something.
That would be such an awful way to go.
I think this has hit the pad, and I think they're going to take a look at the LBW. I think she could be in trouble. We've seen another angle.
It's quite a big stride forward.
I don't think that has hit the bat. I think that's hit the pad. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think it's missed the bat, hit the pad, and the only thing that will save her here is height.
And I don't think I've ever seen this before, where a team has effectively appealed for one thing and may gain success with something else. We've seen a lot of replays of the ultra edge, just so the third umpire, who's Graham Lloyd, can ascertain where there was inside edge or not. No inside edge. Here comes the ball tracker. Pitching in line, hitting and going over the top. Umpire's call for height. So Rodrigues survives twice. First for the caught behind, not given, and then the LBW not given either. Nigel Long swings his hands in front of him. That was absolutely extraordinary. 66 for 1, Rodrigues has 4.
I don't think he thought that they would be going to a ball tracking LBW review, but there we are. That would have been quite extraordinary.
That what would have been even more interesting. Long gives it out. Caught behind. Rodrigues reviews. There's no edge.
Yes.
Is that out LBW? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think
because it would have been umpire's call. Should have been on away. Anyway, 2 deliveries remaining in the over. Eccleston. Boulder! She's chopped on! After all that, after surviving 2 reviews, Jemima Rodrigues chops onto her leg stump, and England are absolutely cock-a-hoop. Twice they thought they had her. Third time was the charm. Rodrigues goes for 4. India is 66 for 1.
Well, that was just a whole waste of time, really, wasn't it? We were just sat here going back and forth with Snicko and whether it was pitching in line. And all we really needed to do was tell Sophie Eccleston to get back to her mark and bowl a beach of a delivery.
It was actually pretty torturous stuff from Rodrigues. She scratched around. 4 singles in 21 deliveries. She had to overturn 1 decision. She survived a review from another. And then inexplicably, she's tried to late cut what was pretty much a half volley and only got a bottom edge onto her leg stump. After a few more thoughts from Isabel Westbury, it'll be Henry Moran.
Yeah, it took her about, 8-9 balls, I think, Phil can correct me if I'm wrong, to get off the mark, and you could feel from the moment she entered the crease just getting really frustrated, knowing that there was pressure on her as an individual to perform, pressure from a team perspective as well, to try and chase down, which is, for England, certainly a below par total. So frustration all round, but it does mean that we see enter the crease the woman that has scored 2 consecutive 50s in the last 2 ODIs.
12 runs in this innings, and she becomes a leading run scorer across formats in women's cricket, passing Charlotte Edwards. I'm going to ask you a question just before you depart.
Oh, that seems cruel.
Yeah, no. You have your chance to answer.
Okay.
Is Jemima Rodrigues as good as everyone says she is?
I think she's a really good cricketer. I think she's very busy. I think she's got really good technique. I also think that she is very young in her career and has just been usurped by a once-in-a-generation cricketer in Shafali Verma, and that's a really awkward place to be in for an international batter.
20 innings, average of 20, only 3 50s.
I think she'll get there. I think she needs time and support, and it might not be yet, but I think she's a class batter, yeah.
Okie doke. Right, is he? That was a fulsome answer. Thank you very much indeed. Isabel Westbury, former Middlesex captain, with us on commentary. Izzy departs to be replaced by Alex Hartley, with Raj looking for those 12 runs, Alex.
Yeah, those 12 runs that she needs. Now, I've just asked Phil to check something out.
Go
for
on.
me. I'll just wait for Soph to bowl this ball.
Okay. India 66 for 2. They're chasing a further 154. Raj is forward, punching the ball back towards Eccleston in rather languid fashion, and the over comes to an end, 66 for 2.
Now, India seems to have a problem, so they've got a firepower at the top of the order. They're really struggling with that 3-4 sort of. They've got Raj at 4, Poonam Raut was there at 3 and got given the boot because she was slow. They've brought in Jemima Rodrigues, and in her last few games, she's scored in her last 5 games.
Yeah, last 5 innings. Since the break for the pandemic, as it were, she's made 1, 9, 0, 8 and 4.
So they've chopped and changed. They've not necessarily replaced Rout with anyone that's better.
Kate Cross sprinting away and bowling to Mandana, who's playing with a slightly cross bat, but effectively enough as far as mid-off. And there is no run.
Yeah, 22 runs in those last 5 innings for Jemima Rodrigues.
So I think this is where India's problem lies, because there's so much pressure on certain batters in this team because everyone else around them seems to just be failing.
Cross to Mandana, whipped into the leg side, lovely timing, but Dunkley will be able to pick up, running in front of the Cathedral, deep backward square leg, 67 for 2, and she is only 20 years old, Rodrigues, and yeah, that is very early in her career, and I suppose she's a victim of the expectation as much as anything.
Yeah, because she came onto the scene and did quite well first up. But yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where obviously you've got Mandana and Verma at the top of the order, and you just expect everyone else to be as good as them two, and they haven't quite found someone that is going to fill Mitali Raj, Harmanpreet Kaur's boots, and there's so much pressure on Verma and Mandana at the top of the order.
Raj on strike, right-hander, keeper standing up, cross bowls, lovely timing from Raj as far as Shrubsole at mid-on.
When you say Rodrigues is only 20, she's played a lot of cricket for a 20-year-old.
She has. What's
It's
that?
a very... Straight down the effects, Mike.
It is, yeah.
Is it a bin?
No, it's a chef with a trolley.
Ice cream? Excuse me.
99 flake. Oh, I haven't found our ice cream today.
I know,
it's frustrating. Here comes Cross then to bowl to Mitali Raj, forward in solid defence into the offside. It's like the trolleys, always those trolleys that carry things make an unbelievable noise. You know, they don't, the smoothness of your supermarket trolley, which is much quieter.
Yeah, there's nothing worse as well. I live in a flat, and when they do the trolleys to take stuff to the supermarket at the bottom, it just wakes me up. It's just, why are you doing that at 5 a.m?
Here comes Cross, bowling to Raj, who's got one of those runs at least. I think it'll be 4, tickled down to the fine leg boundary, and it gets there. So Mitali Raj is up and running in the innings. She moves to 4, and now 8 away from a hugely significant landmark of being the leading run scorer in women's international cricket.
Do you think Charlotte Edwards is sat at home going, I hope she doesn't get these 12? Or do you think she's going, you know what, she's still playing, unbelievable player, she's going to be the leading run scorer?
Well,
I wouldn't want her to get them if it was me.
no, I don't think I would either, but then maybe we're not as nice as she is. Here comes Cross again, sprinting in, right arm over, and that's a beauty that beats the outside edge of Mitali Raj's bat. And the end of the over, 17 gone, 71 for 2. The target is 220 from 47 overs. They're in a good position here, India, but they'll be wary of losing a couple more wickets, because that could just see the pressure building a little bit. Mandana's got 41 from 47. The clouds are just bubbling up a little bit.
They are. It looks very dark, although they do look like they're going behind the cricket ground, sort of in front of us. And it's blue sky. You know what? We might get away with it.
We might get away. We got away with it big time last weekend at Bristol.
Did we?
Yeah.
I never knew it was meant to rain.
Yeah.
I don't check the weather forecast. I think it's always wrong.
Well, it's useful to know, though. Prepare, though, isn't it? Eccleston, bowling to Mandana, dropped into the offside. No chance of a run.
No, I did the classic look out the window.
Yeah, the clouds are building up. It's getting very dark over there. The Duckworth-Lewis score at the end of this over, I'm sure you were just looking, Henry, is 71 if India remain 2 wickets down.
Eccleston bowling to Mandana, clipped down the ground for a single, so they move ahead of that DLS pass score for the end of this over. This is not by any stretch of the imagination absolutely exact, but it is a really useful guide as to where they are in this run chase. At the moment, they're on course.
Yeah, we always look at Duckworth-Lewis just to see if you're on course. Don't let Duckworth-Lewis get too far ahead of you.
Eccleston going to bowl round the wicket to Mandana. It's forward in defence, very correctly, punching into the offside where Heather Knight will pick up. There's a few more thicker jackets that have been put on in the last hour or so. Our friend Jack, who's scoring the game down below us, he's put on a slightly fleecier number. It's not quite as sunny as it was. Eccleston with a quicker, flatter ball, which is defended into the offside.
Daddy's still in his England shirt.
He is.
Still 50 not out.
Yes. Well, it might be his birthday.
Well, happy birthday,
And
Daddy.
actually, that's an old England shirt, so he might be significantly older.
52 not out now.
Cross it out. In comes Eccleston, defended away. There's been a lovely atmosphere here today. Had a little lap of the ground when we went to find your sunglasses.
It's a lovely ground, isn't it? So I thought Eccleston was bowling quick. She bowled that one at 55 miles per hour. Just a 20 miles an hour faster than Poonam.
Here comes Eccleston. Full flat. Dug out by Mitali Raj up to Lauren Winfield Hill at mid-off. Eccleston pulls herself up from the ground, and India are 72 for 2 after 18 overs. There's certainly sort of, not quite a phony war, that's not quite the right phrase, but just a little bit of a sense that this game is in a bit of a sparring stage before the real tension ratchets up when India know that they've got to start putting their foot down a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those. England know they need wickets to get that Duckworth-Lewis score out of reach for India.
Some lovely symmetry to the bowling figures so far. Brunt and Shrubsole both 4 overs, 0 for 21. Cross and Eccleston both 1 for 51. 1 for 15 from their 5.
Crosses in to bowl to Mandana, happy to push the ball up to mid-on where there's no run.
1 for 51 after 3. I mean, get off.
Cheers, Crossy.
Get her out at both ends.
But there is the one. Fran Wilson's on the field. I'm trying to see who's off.
First one to spot wins.
Wins what?
Just the game.
Okay, here comes Cross again. Fast umpire Warren. Lovely timing. It beats the fielder at mid-wicket, and it could run away to the boundary. Wilson's in pursuit. Should be full of energy and does pretty well in the end. Almost staggers over the rope, but does enough to prevent the boundary, and Mandana will get back for just a couple. It's good timing, but Fran Wilson, who's not done an awful lot this summer so far. In fact, that might be even her first action of the entire summer. There's an important save of 4 runs.
I missed her stopping 4 runs because I was trying to figure out who's off the field and I can't.
Cross moving into bowl to Mandana. This time looks to the offside, but Shrubsole will collect.
Doesn't help not knowing the starting 11 off the top of your head.
Well, I think it's Sarah Glenn.
Oh, see, I think Sarah Glenn's down the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So you're wrong.
So I lose. The England flag above the cathedral is just perhaps blowing a little bit more vigorously. Cross moving to bowl, and Mandana whips that away. Lovely shot through mid-wicket for 4.
Beautiful shot that from Mandana. just whipping the ball off her legs past the diving Heather Knight at mid-wicket. And brilliantly timed, straight out the middle of the bat. 4 runs. And it's Lauren Winfield that's not on the field.
Very good.
Lauren Winfield.
Just a little short-arm jab from Martin at that. Bottom hand, whipping it away. Moves to 48. 78 for 2. India's target is 220 with the 19th over of 47. Cross is into Mandana, down the leg side, wide signal. Jones moves to her right to pick up. This is quite a significant innings for Mandana because she's not been in perfect form in the last couple of matches. She'll want to get in good touch ahead of the white ball T20 leg and then going into to the 100 as well. 79 for 2. Cross running in, trees behind her as a full delivery is driven. Great timing from Smriti Mandana, but it's well stopped by Anja Shrubsole, who's been busy at mid-off in the last couple of overs. 1 ball left of this, the 19th.
If India win this, it makes the T20s all to play for. It makes it all more exciting, doesn't it? So if India lose today, they can't win this multi-format series. They can only draw if they win all 3 T20s.
Cross running into bowl to Mandana on 48. Played back past Cross, but not beyond Shrubsole. The over ends with a couple of dot balls, and it is 79 for 2 after 19. This game reduced to 47 overs aside, Alex, and a target for victory. A further 141 runs from the remaining. Ooh, how many overs? 28 overs. There we go. Just for a moment. The panic.
Do the maths.
Yeah.
It's on the scoreboard, just over there, on the right-hand side.
Oh yeah, but I didn't want to. I wanted to.
You wanted to work it out?
Yeah.
I get that. So the DLS score now is 76. So India are ahead. Does look like there's a bit of rain in the distance.
Yeah, could be. But actually it's suddenly got a bit brighter over the ground, New Road. Raj driving. Full delivery as far as Knight at extra cover. Eccleston bowling her 6th over. Taken 1 for 15 so far. In sunglasses, running past the umpire, round the wicket to Raj, back to the bowler. Throws in vigorously. Bless you.
Thank you.
How is Sophie Eccleston out there? You know her well. Body language.
Yeah, she. I think her first over she was quite frustrated.
She's in now to bowl to Raj, who's defending into the offside.
First couple of overs, I mean, she bowled all right, but her run rate was 4, so she'll have been annoyed with that off her first 2. But yeah, no, she looks all right. She's calmed down a little bit. She just needs to smile. She's better when she's smiling.
Eccleston to Raj, defending again into the offside. Happy just to block it. She's also wearing a pair of what look like sort of ski sunglasses.
Bright pink.
Her
favourite colour. Everything Sophie Eccleston owns is pink. Golf bag, golf clubs, jumpers, car.
Eccleston in. Bowling to Mitali Raj, looking for 1 down the ground. It's not there. This England field's up with mid-on and mid-off. Up inside the circle. The field is out. They're at deep mid-wicket and deep cover.
I must point out she actually hasn't got a pink car, but she would if she could.
Okay, I was going to say. Eccleston to Raj, again forward in defence. And a rather nondescript over. A maiden.
It was a maiden, and now that's 20 overs gone, so we've got a game.
Oh, we've got a game. There we go. Quite right too, Phil. 20 overs aside required to constitute a match. We've got that now, and so we will get a result one way or the other. And Duckworth Lewis could well come into play. I'll have another look at that radar, Alex, because that is quite a significant part of all of this. We see that rain that's roaring up from the southwest, the Bristol area, and at the moment we are getting a little bit fortunate. It's slightly to the east of where we are. Cheltenham, Stratford upon Avon are getting a bit of a hammering, but at the moment we are just a little fortunate.
This is the bowler that India will most likely look to target, Sarah Glenn, the leg spin of Sarah Glenn. Went at 5s in the previous game, I think. She wasn't overly expensive, but wasn't really threatening, only bowled the 5 overs.
Glenn's leg spin will come from around the wicket to the left-handed Mandana, who gets a short, poor delivery first up, that will bring at least a single. In fact, that's really good work from Dunkley at deep backward square, keeping it just down to the 1 run. 80 for 2.
It's always one of those leg spin where you just expect a leggy to get it right straight away, but it's one of the hardest things to bowl in cricket.
It's the bowling equivalent of cooking a souffle. When it works, it's fantastic, but there's quite a lot of room for error, and when it doesn't go right, it's horrific.
I do like a souffle. Might get one later.
Where?
I don't know. Let's go find one.
Eccleston bowling to Raj, who's forward with a big stride, pushing into the offside. Sun out here at New Road.
I might be thinking of a panna cotta, actually.
Phil, help me. Comes Glenn, tossing the ball up, and Raj defends.
I also like the idea you might miss the football tonight, searching Worcester for a panna cotta.
Or a souffle.
Or a souffle.
Well, I quite like the idea that you might find a souffle after several hours and say, I didn't think it was like this. I thought it was sort of creamy and like a dessert. Into the offside. Raj wants a single. Will get there as well. That's good running. Beaumont diving to a right at cover point. 81 for 2. Raj moves to 5.
Do like my desserts. I think I should be 45 stone, really, to be honest with you. But hey ho, we run it off.
In comes Glenn to bowl to Mandana. LBW appeal is given. Sarah Glenn strikes. Mandana looks up, looks frustrated, has a little conference with Batali Raj, who says, no, I'm sorry, from where I'm standing, you're gone. And Mandana goes for 49, India 81 for 3. Sarah Glenn strikes in her first over.
Yeah, not a good shot that from Smriti Mandana. She's playing across the line of the ball. Sarah Glenn, no turn. The ball carries on, and it's just hit her in front of middle, probably hitting leg stump. Very much out, and as you say, she looks at the captain, and the captain says, mate, you gotta go, that is so out.
It was very, very out. It was one of those where it kept a little bit low, and as soon as it hit the pads, the umpire's finger, even before the appeal, was, yeah, I'm afraid this one's done.
Yeah, as soon as it struck her on the pad, she knew. She threw her head up, and she played the shot again and corrected herself, said, I need to play high up the ground. But too late was the cry.
So to the middle, the out of form Harmanpreet Kaur. And this is going to be an interesting passage of play, Alex, because these two have been going slowly when they've batted together, and with a third wicket having fallen, that changes the Duckworth, Lewis and Stern situation. So we've got this sort of guide that we can keep an eye on, and at the end of this over, the 21st of the innings, at 3 down, India need to be at 92, and that suddenly is 11 further from where they are now. So wickets make all the difference, and these two, if they start slowly together in this partnership, well, it could cause them problems, because you could find suddenly it really just moves away.
Yeah, it might actually help Harmanpreet Kaur playing a natural game and go out and be aggressive.
Glenn in the sunshine to bowl to the right-handed Harmanpreet, who's deep in the crease, punching off the back foot, and there is no run.
Smriti Mandana, the second player in this game to be out for 49, following Nat Siva, and that's Sarah Glenn's first wicket of the series.
81 for 3 is the score. 21 overs gone. I always think of those people that make the graphics for social media, for say England or India or whoever, or BBC Sport, who have the graphics ready for when someone reaches a milestone, and they never get used.
Yeah, yes.
You know?
And you think, oh, next time.
Yeah, for goodness sake. It's like I've still got a tweet saved in my drafts congratulating New Zealand for winning the 50 over World Cup.
Oh, have you?
I do, yes.
Oh. You don't want to accidentally tweet that, do you?
No, it might look, yeah, unless I know something nobody else does. Alex, some more from you, and then Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, we've got change of bowling at the far end. Nat Siva coming on. England have been in control of this game. Duckworth, Lewis, Stern now 94. India are 81 for 3. Sophie Eccleston again very economical with the ball and picking up wickets as she always does.
81 for 3, and it's Siva into the attack. This first delivery is pushed back up the wicket to her by the right-handed Raj, and there is no run. It's all changed, and sky's changed as well. It's brooding and dark and unpleasant. It's like a JMW Turner painting out there now, which is a bit smoky. Just a bit smoky. Siva is in, and Raj drives into the offside. Can't beat the tumbling Knight at extra cover, and there's no run.
It's a weird look out there because it looks dark and gloomy and rainy, but the ground itself is in the sunshine.
Isn't it lovely? Because it's sparkling off the cathedral as well. It's a perfectly weird mix of everything today. Severin, Raj again drives again. Can't beat a tumbling knight. It's extra cover, and this is where things start to get a little bit awkward for India. That target still some way away. Sorry, I'll tell you what I was repressing a tea-induced burp.
Oh,
all right.
You're trying not to let it slip out.
That's exactly what I was trying to do. Siva in full, driven nicely through the gap. She'll only get a single for it as Brunt comes in off the boundary to field. 82 for 3. Yes, I was once on commentary with somebody who had rather unwisely consumed a tin of a fizzy drink, a very famous and most popular perhaps of the fizzy drinks, and he'd consumed it at great speed.
Rookie error.
A big rookie error, because I turned to him, hadn't realised quite he'd done that, and asked him a question, and as he gave the answer, there was the most enormous belch that came out first.
Oh no.
Which our listeners do not want to hear, I'm sure of that. Sever into Harmanpreet, who tries to turn this around the corner, gets nothing on it. Well taken by Jones, but wide is signalled. So don't forget, if you're listening in and you're thinking, right, we're in the 22nd over, there are 28 left, it's quite a small target, you're thinking, well, it's not quite that. There are 47 overs per side in this game. After this over, in 2 balls time, there'll be 25 overs left. And at the moment, still 137 to win. Severin defending. Harmanpreet. Short mid-wicket, there's no run, which will take the required rate to about 5.5, and I'm going to set Phil a little target here of his own. He's not looking happy about it, but we don't have him for the T20s, so we might as well. I want to know how many 10 over bursts there have been in which they've gone at more than 5.5 and over. Is that doable? Here comes Siva. Core depends at the offside. Wants a single, but is not going to get that. As Knight's quickly onto it. End of the over. It's getting tougher and tougher to score runs. 83 for 3. Mitali Raj has 6 from 22 balls. Harmanpreet is yet to get off the mark. 22 overs gone.
Yeah, this is where this game is won or lost for India. This partnership, as you say, Raj 6 off 22. You don't want that DLS score getting too far out of hand. England no wickets are key. They take one more, and this is England's game. The rain is on its way, as we fear.
We think it is, don't we?
We just don't know.
It's so weird. It's kind of swirly. Thing is, if it comes, it'll take overs out of the game, which will then increase the required run rate. And I know they'll have wickets in hand, fewer overs, but that doesn't necessarily make it easier on this pitch as Glenn starts a new over. Full hit gloriously in the air for 4. One bounce over the top of mid-off by Mitali Raj. Where did that come from? She moves to double figures.
I love that from Mitali Raj. She knows the run rate is so important. Sarah Glenn doesn't necessarily spin the ball, so as long as you're going down the right line of the ball and you're using your feet, it's a pretty safe shot to be playing.
Well, it's an adventurous one. Mid-on and mid-off up inside the circle. Mid-on's now back. Anya Shrubsole. Mid-off stays up though, as Glenn is in, and Raj comes down the wicket, drives, pushes it straight to Heather Knight. Short extra cover. There's no run. She's certainly giving the impression that she wants to get a wriggle on here, but no one's consistently managed it today when they've come at the bowling. Glenn in, that's full, and yet Raj plays it from deep in her crease, pushes into the onside. Siva fields, so 4 off the first ball. Pressure on the over becomes 4 off 3 balls. Glenn will be thinking another dot ball here, and the pressure just starts to go back a little bit on India. That's floated up and driven up to long on, where Shrubsole coming off the boundary to field, throws in on the bounce. One more to the total, 88 for 3, Raj to 11.
Big passage of play this. Harmanpreet Kaur on strike, not in the greatest of form.
She isn't. I've not seen her in such a poor patch for so long. As Glenn is in to her, and Harmanpreet comes forward and just defends back up the wicket. There's no run. She's yet to get off the mark. She's only faced 4 balls. But England had just picked up wickets at crucial moments, just as India did when England were batting. It's been that kind of a day. No pairings of batters have been able to get a stranglehold on the game. Glenn in to complete the over, and that's down the leg side. She gets a little bit of pad on that. There's oohs and ahs, questions asked. Umpire's not interested, Heather Knight's not interested. End of the over, 5 from it, which actually is slightly less than was required when the first ball's hit for 4. That's the problem. 88 for 3, 23 overs gone. We're nearly at the halfway stage in this innings.
Yeah, if you're getting a boundary early on in the over, you have to rotate the strike. You have to keep getting the singles, and then your run rate goes up to 8s and 9s. The danger is if you get that boundary early on and then just face more dots like they have done, you just get 5 off the over.
Yes, it's almost like, oh, well, I've got the boundary, that's it. But then the boundary needs to be followed up, doesn't it? That's the issue. Is in comes Siva to start a new over, and Raj comes forward and pushes the first ball rather pokily to short extra, where Knight fields. But the brightness of the sun is now getting stronger, if anything, while the darkness of the clouds is getting gloomier.
Yeah, it's very
really odd.
Yeah, it is. The blue sky is so blue.
It is.
And the dark clouds are so dark.
Siva in. That's been hidden high in the air. And it's gone again. Mitali Raj gone over the top and gone straight and got herself a boundary. She just planted her front foot and lifted it. Not many people have managed to play that shot continually during the day. The pitch is so slow, ball tends to sit in it. But here she's got a proper stride in, and she's a good swing of the bat. And she cleared the infield, picks up another boundary. 92 for 3. And actually, that means something, and we're going to come to it in a minute. This is a momentous moment. Siva in, and Raj just tucks this into the onside. There is no run. Go on, Phil, tell us.
Yeah, with that 4, Mitali Raj becomes the highest ever scorer in women's international cricket. She's moved on to 10,277, inching 4 runs ahead of Charlotte Edwards on 10,273.
Yeah, Charlotte's probably the other end of the ground today, is she? I don't know. Siva is in. This is pushed to backward point where Beaumont does the fielding, and there's no run.
Well, her Vipers are playing today, so I don't think she's
Vipers.
here.
Yes.
Southern Vipers are playing today.
Right, well, she won't be here then to, obviously, to see it and then go and congratulate Mitali, because I'm sure that'll be the first thing on her mind.
I'd be fuming. I would. I'd be like, oh, what?
Yes, I know, after all those years. Forward in defence comes Raj. She wants a single. It isn't there as Beaumont's quick to the ball. No run. So we've had just the boundary and no other runs.
Again, getting the
This
4
over.
early on in the over and not being able to rotate the strike. So just the 4 off the over so far.
It's weird though, isn't it? I mean, is it because she's so orthodox? She just can't find the angles as Siva is in, and that's an angle that she's found. A gap between point and extra. Plays the ball out to Catherine Brunt on the offside boundary, gets single. So we've had 5 of the last over, 5 off this over. They'll be happy with that. Duckworth Lewis now at the end of the coming over is 102 required for parity, and India are currently 93 for 3. They're over halfway, 24 overs bowled, 23 remain. Raj 16, Harmanpreet yet to score.
Yep, Raj stealing the strike again.
Yes. Well, I'm intrigued by this. This approach that she's got. It's sort of hit over the top for 4 and then nothing.
But it's exciting to see that she's hitting the ball over the top. We just need more of it, Mitali.
Sarah Glenn in off 3 or 4 paces, starts a new over, short, played into the offside, finds the gap, will get a single, but come off strike. Throws the pressure onto Harmanpreet, who's yet to score. 94 for 3.
Yet to score, and we need to remember we're talking about Mitali and how slow she has been with her run rate. Harmanpreet in the previous game was slower than Mitali Raj.
Glenn in. That's tossed up, full delivery, driven straight along the ground at Heather Knight, whose sunglasses fall off in the effort of saving the ball.
The run rate, just climbed above 5.5 here. You asked me about India scoring runs previously in this series.
Glenn in, and that's cut away, backward point, and there's no run.
Yeah, the only real time when they've gone at much more than that, they hit 67 off the last 10 overs in the first ODI. But other than that, it's been around 4, 5 and over maximum.
And in this match, I'm not sure England really went at over 5.5 and over for 10 over spell, really. Back into a crease goes Harmanpreet. She's going to get off the mark. She pushes the ball to the offside. An under-arm throw from Heather Knight is somewhat wild. It goes over the top of the keeper Jones, but it's backed up. They pick up 1. Harmanpreet's off the mark, 95 for 3.
You always know a team's in a good place when they laugh at something like that.
Yeah.
You think, oh, whoopsies.
Yeah, you do that when you're under the pump and everyone's annoyed, aren't
And
they?
everyone's going, what are you doing that for? It's a 7-yard throw.
Here is Glenn, and Mitali Raj comes down the wicket and then just pushes the ball back to Glenn for no run. We've had 2 singles off this over so far. There's 1 ball left in it. Noose is tightening. A little bit of pressure here on Raj. She's got 1 ball left in the over. What's she look to do? Probably nick the strike, I would think. Glenn is in, and down the wicket comes Raj. Pushes it straight down the night. Another dot ball. 95 for 3. 25 overs have been bowled. 22 remain. 125 required for victory. It's getting closer and closer to 6 and over. And then things will get a little bit awkward.
Yep, you do not want that run rate getting out of hand. No, we know these two are struggling. Mitali's in form. She's scored runs throughout this competition. Harmanpreet not so much. But this is probably India's last hope. But you know, if
A bit of long handle from Dipti maybe.
yeah, but if the run rate's going to get out of hand.
Yeah.
Too much pressure on the tail enders.
Siver in, start a new over, and that's nicely guided gloriously by Harmanpreet. She'll pick up at least 2 for it as Shobsol runs round to her right, a deep backward point to field. It's nicely placed to the left of Tammy Beaumont, who's often in the ring at point. She's a good diver, isn't she, Tammy Beaumont? She likes to dive around.
She does. She's a good fielder as well. To say she's got small hands.
She's got tiny hands.
It's like they've not grown since she was 7.
That would be weird.
You see,
Yeah.
you should tell her to put her thumbs up to you. You can't see it.
Siver in, forward in defence comes Harmanpreet, pushes into the onside. Dunkley runs into field. There's no run. The sun is now starting to disappear behind this bank of cloud above us. We have to keep our eye on Duckworth Lewis stern. What you'll find is that it won't go up at 4 or 5 and over at this stage while 3 wickets are down. It'll only go up by 2 or 3 and over. So India won't be panicking at all yet. Siver is in, and that's beautifully guided by Harmanpreet down through sort of vacant third slip area. Get an easy single. That's all they need at the moment. 98 for 3.
Yeah, it's wickets with DLS, isn't it? That fire it up, make it have a big jump.
So really, I mean, if they play the canny game, just keep their eye on the weather, they can afford to go at sort of 3s, the occasional 4 for the next 5 overs. Siver is in, and Raj just pushes the ball into the offside, finds the gap between point and extra cover. Brunt does the fielding. They get a single, 99 for 3.
I suppose the good thing about these two is they've got so much cricket experience, so much middle practice. They've been there, they've done this, they've done it before. They know what they're doing.
Siver in, and that's nicely worked behind square on the leg side. It was a full ball. They should pick up 2 more as fielders converge. Sarah Glenn's the first to it, throws in 2 more to the total. The 100 is up for India, 101 for 3, getting ever closer to that Duckworth Lewis par. Duckworth Lewis Stern par, I should say.
I'd hate to be Stern. Yeah,
he doesn't come out of it as well.
Who's Stern?
Well, I met Stern, lovely chap.
Well,
he
gets forgotten about. Was Duckworth Lewis 1 bloke or 2 blokes?
No, 2. Frank Duckworth. We often find him at Bristol. Lovely, smiley chap. Very, very smiley fellow. Very clever, frighteningly smart. Siver in, played off the back foot, pushed up to mid-off. There's no run at the end of the over. 101 for 3, India. Raj 18, Harmanpreet has 6.
Doesn't it surprise me that he's really smart, because he's come up with a method that nobody can work out.
Yeah. But it sort of works, I think. Well, certainly better than any of the previous efforts that we tried out in cricket. So 21 overs remain. This game is bubbling up nicely. You may be thinking 21 overs to score 119 with 7 wickets in hand shouldn't be a particularly onerous ask, but I tell you, we've been watching on this pitch, and every time somebody's gone after the bowling, they've come unstuck. Sarah Glenn is now into her 4th over. England using their 5th bowler basically at this stage. Down the wicket comes Raj and drives full ball out to Dunkley on the deep extra cover boundary. 1 more to the total. Welcome back, Isabel.
Hello. This is when we can really put into practice that theory of come at me players
Yes.
versus wait and see.
It's exactly that, isn't it? It's rather fun. Glenn into Harmanpreet this time, who goes back into a crease and finds a gap in the offside. She's just starting to find a bit of fluency here, Harmanpreet. Picks up one more, 102 for 3.
Harmanpreet being more of a come at me player,
Yep.
and Mitali Raj being more of a wait and see.
Sarah Glenn trots in from 4 or 5 paces. It was a short ball, which is punched up the back foot out to Dunkley on the deep extra cover boundary. One more to the total, 104 for 3. Duckworth Lewis Stern par at the end of this over is only 108. They're only 4 behind it with 3 balls left in the over. It shows you just how tight this game is at the moment. Harmanpreet faces up and sweeps. She can't beat short fine leg, which is Sophie Eccleston. Spears the ball back to Amy Jones, no run.
There are shades of the World Cup final in this, when it was a gettable total.
It's very similar, isn't
It
it?
all capitulated for India.
Harmanpreet just works this full delivery around her front pad, and this time it's square enough of the wicket. Eccleston has to trot to her left and they get a single.
And how many did India make in that World Cup final?
Was it 220?
219.
219. Oh,
Which would be falling short here.
yes. By
Interesting.
1 run. Well, it'd be a tie then, would it? Yeah. Glenn in. That's punched off the back foot, but can't beat backward point. End of the over. They're getting through their overs quickly here, England. They're just trying to scurry a few, but I do think that the smart thing here is to try to pick up a wicket. Phil Long.
Yeah, you mentioned about the England innings and the way it developed. There were no maidens in the England innings, but there were only 8 of the 47 overs where more than 6 runs were scored. So it was very consistent scoring throughout. Easy enough to score the singles, less easy to push the run rate forward.
Well, right now, the target is 115 from 20 overs, which is really almost a run a ball. It's five balls off runs. And this is something I don't think we see enough of. It's Heather Knight bringing herself onto bowl. She transformed the test match at Bristol by bringing herself on while India was sort of coasting really, and picked up crucial 2 for 1 in 6 overs towards the back end of the second day.
Well, this is the first time we're seeing her in the ODI series.
Isn't that odd? She's on the brink of 50 wickets as well. She's got
That-
49.
I would actually say for the last few years it's almost been the one criticism of Heather Knight's captaincy.
Under bowls herself.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to bowl now, and on a slow pitch in which spinners have prospered. The sun is now back out. It's now bright and shiny, with Harmanpreet on strike. Knight in. Forward in defence comes Harmanpreet. Pushes the ball back to Knight. There's no run. I mean, she can see McKay. Well, I don't know why she doesn't. She went for next to no runs in a test match. Maybe she forgets. You never know. Knight in, full, driven, but she can't beat mid-wicket. Oh, she can beat mid-wicket. A tumbling effort, which I thought was going to be successful. In the end, the ball just rolled under. Nat Siver at mid-wicket. One more to the total, 106 for 3.
I think she's too modest.
Well, she's a modest woman, yes.
I mean, you or I might go out there and tell the world how brilliant we all
Oh.
are and just keep bowling.
I'd bowl more than 10 overs.
Yeah.
It comes Knight, driven up to long on by Raj for a single.
I mean, I always thought that was the reward for becoming captain, is you bowled yourself in the nicest possible overs.
You field in the best places.
Yeah.
You bowl when people aren't coming at you. You'd think that'd be the way. It's a clock chimes 6 o'clock. It's a sweep from Harmanpreet. We'll get her a single. I think Sarah Glenn was just not quite as alive to that she might have been. Suddenly realised that she had to go and collect it, and a wide has been signalled. And they've run one as well. You know what that does? Takes the score to 109 for 3, I think. And they're now only 2 runs away from Duckworth Lewis par. In 3 balls time, Raj comes down the wicket, drives up to long on for a single, 110 for 3. We're mentioning this always because we keep on thinking that this rain must surely fall, but I don't know if it will now.
I think we'll be okay. It was one of those when you see patchy bursts of rain on the radar.
It's a mirage. Here comes Knight, drives, and she dives over that ball, does Knight, trying to stop it as it was pushed back towards her. Harmanpreet picks up another single. 111 for 3 if you're a superstitious Indian fan right now. Taking your feet off the ground. Daddy 50 over here in front of us is taking his feet off the ground. I don't know if he's an Indian fan, mind you. It's Raj faced up the last ball of night's over. It's driven through extra cover. Brunt will field. End of the over. 112 for 3. If the game were to stop right now, India would win, having gone 1 run above Duckworth-Lewis stern par. That is how tight this game is. 19 overs remain. 108 required for victory. Raj 23, Harmanpreet, that's 10. More from Isabel Westbury, and then it will be the returning Stefan Schemmelt.
So what Daniel Norcross is really saying is if you're an Indian fan now, put your feet back on the ground and get rain dancing. Because at the moment, India are ahead. And I rather feel that if we do go to the full extent of this match, it'll be these two that a lot rests on.
Sarah Glenn with her leg breaks, bowling to Mitali Raj. An appeal for LBW. Russell Warren doesn't fancy it. Amy Jones comes from behind the stumps and hurls the ball at the non-striker's end. But India are through for a leg bye. 113 for 3. Yeah, as it stands, we're in for a cracking finish. Stick 2 wickets on that.
Yes.
And England would be bang on top. Harmanpreet, 10 from 19, faces up to Sarah Glenn. Very careful defensive stroke into the offside. That's where you just feel like England have that element of control for now. But give this another 6 overs without breaking this partnership. Glenn again. Up towards Kate Cross at mid-off and there's no run. I say element of control, I don't think that's the right thing to say. I don't think they'll be panicking.
No.
Glenn, long blonde hair, 3 on her back. To Harmanpreet, goes back. Forces it up to the offside sweeper. Single taken. Score moves on to 114 for 3. Mitali Raj, the leading run scorer in women's international cricket history. Number 3 to number 3. Glenn to Raj. Quite mechanical action from Glenn. Hits the pad, that goes fine. There's a chase for Sophie Eccleston. There'll be 2 leg byes at least. Eccleston just picks the ball up from the boundary sponge. Harmanpreet may have run 3 there. Mitali Raj not interested, just trotting through for the second. 2 leg byes, 116 for 3. And I think I said before that England won't be panicking, but the element of concern will be that runs are coming relatively easily, more than a trickle. Here comes Glenn, that's short. Mitali Raj onto the back foot, punching almost Tendulkar-esque through the covers for a single. 117 for 3. Is there one deal at note? That's the 29th over complete. A lot of sky blue shirts go scurrying to all parts of New Road. I think that's Freya Davis in a substitute fielder's bib who's just run on as well to take a cap off Heather Knight. 117 for 3 India after 29. The target is 220 from 47.
What might be on England's mind at this stage as well is this partnership now is up at 36. So you've got 2 very accomplished, capable batters. Do you bring on your strike bowlers in Cross and Eccleston now? Well,
that's the thing, because the strike bowlers are Cross and Eccleston, aren't they? As Raj comes down the pitch to Heather Knight, turning the ball through the vacant square leg region. 118 for 3. Because Brunt and Shrubsole have been expensive, it's Cross and Eccleston that have done the business both today and in the second one-day international at Taunton. And England can have 3 bowlers who bowl 10 overs. You expect that to be Cross and Eccleston. Knight bowls to Harmanpreet down the leg side. Good take from Amy Jones as the bails off, but it'll be rightly called wide by Nigel Long. 119 for 3. Beautiful scene at New Road now. The rain that has threatened us all day since we started late at 12:30. I think that chance has gone now. Just watery sunshine. Knight bowls to Harmanpreet down the track. Drives up to Anya Shrubsole at extra cover, and there's no run. There's that buzz around the ground that we've spoken about all day. Just a little bit earlier on, you could hear warring chants of "Come on England" and "Come on India" from just 2 pockets of opposite fans. Knight to Harmanpreet. Again, Anya Shrubsole's in the game at extra cover, and there's no run. Not many people have moved. We did have 2 young lads in front of us before eating their lunch. Well, they've long since departed, replaced by 2 ladies who've got just an early evening snack. Knight to Harmanpreet with a drive up to mid-wicket. Nat Siver on her knees does the fielding. Most of the ground still bathed in sunshine. There's just a shadow creeping from behind us that'll lengthen straight across the ground as the evening wears on. Knight picks up her knees and bowls to Harmanpreet with late cuts to Tammy Beaumont at backward point. It's a dot ball.
Lovely cricket playing weather, isn't it? Not too warm. Nice glow.
119 for 3. Cathedral directly opposite our position, watching over the action. Knight completes the over to Harmanpreet. Tammy Beaumont again in the action, but she can't prevent the single, and it's Catherine Brunt who comes scurrying off the boundary as a single is taken. 120 for 3 India after 30 overs. Their target is 220. Mitali Raj 25, Harmanpreet Kaur 12. Again, the substitute fielders all over the ground. One in an orange bib of India. 2 England subs are on there in their yellow bibs. Sophie Eccleston takes a good drink from Freya Davis, and I think Eccleston's going to come into the attack now, as you asked for, Isabel Westbury, the strike bowler.
I think that's about right, though. It's got 1 wicket today, 3 for in both of her bowling efforts in the last 2 ODIs. 3 for without even really thinking about it.
England have got to bowl 17 more overs. I suspect that's 4 each for Eccleston and Cross.
You'd think so. They're both, Eccleston's 1 for 15 from her 6, Kate Cross 1 for 22.
And they do have plenty of resources left in the shape of Brunt, Shrubsole, Sarah Glenn, Nat Siver. Can't imagine Heather Knight will bowl too many more.
No.
So 120 for 3. DLS is 122. So India just behind. They need exactly 100 to win from the remaining 17 overs.
They've been overtaking each other, DLS and India. It's been a very tight race so far.
Trees over deep cover are just bending lazily as Eccleston, the left arm spinner, figures of 1 for 15 from 6, is round the wicket to Harmanpreet. That's an inside edge straight to Sarah Glenn at short fine leg, and there's no run. Glenn is the bowler that's been replaced. She's with figures of 1 for 15 from 5 overs. Eccleston behind the sunglasses, long blonde hair tied back, sky blue shirt, navy trousers, bowls to Harmanpreet, again goes back, is hit on the pad, it just trickles to short leg, and there's no run.
Yeah, you can see India playing with much more intent, ambition here, wanting to rotate the strike, knowing exactly what they need to get.
Harmanpreet Kaur raises her bat, she goes back, forces off the back foot out towards deep extra cover. The sweeper scurries round. Is that Fran Wilson out
Fran
there?
Wilson.
Sub-fielding.
Yeah.
1-2-1 for 3 are India. So who's off then? Dunkley? No, Dunkley's at deep square leg. Lauren Winfield Hill, I think.
I think that's right. It's not a bad substitution for a field.
Fran Wilson was going through some pretty vigorous warm-ups during the interval as well. Mitali Raj down the track, lofted down the ground over Anya Shrubsole. Couple of bounces, chase for Shrubsole, but the ball will win into the boundary sponge. It's Eccleston and Shrubsole again. When you and I were together on commentary before, Sophie Eccleston gave Anya Shrubsole a few filthy looks about her efforts in that mid-on position. There was nothing Shrubsole could have done about this one other than turn around and chase it to the sponge.
No, it's one of those horrid ones as a bowler where you know they've mishit it, you know it's close, but it just sails over the fielder. Nothing, as you say, that Shrubsole could have done for that.
Perhaps needed a Julan Goswami at mid-on. 1-2-5 for 3. Again Eccleston to Raj, who defends carefully into the offside. It's been a feature of Raj's play today, how she's used her feet to the spinners, targeted that mid-off area. Eccleston to complete the over, throws out her arms, bowls to Mitali Raj, that's down the leg side. Sophia Dunkley's quickly in from backward square leg to make sure there's no run. But at the end of the 31st over, India 125 for 3. They need another 95 from 16 overs to beat England in this third one-day international. They've lost Verma for 19, Rodrigues for 4, Mandana for 49. Don't forget, you'll be able to see highlights on the red button from 9 o'clock tonight. Heather Knight's going to start a new over from the far end, the Diglis end, into Harmanpreet, who sweeps powerfully. There is a fielder out there at deep backward square leg. One taken. Harmanpreet moves on to 14. India 126 for 3. Mitali Raj, short in stature, raises a bat after a couple of taps. Again, she's down the pitch. Anya Shrubsole, shortish extra cover, tumbling stop to prevent the run. There's a fella in front of us, a cameraman. He's got this equipment on his shoulder, trudging off away to our left. As Knight bowls, Raj is down the track, turning this one through mid-wicket. Just for a single, it's Sophia Dunkley who comes in off the boundary and does the fielding. 127 for 3. 93 from 93 required. Raj has 30 from 51. Knight trots in and bowls to Harmanpreet. Pushes past Nat Siver. The oof from Isabel Westbury's because Nat Siver's full length dive.
How many have we seen of that?
She could not prevent the single. It was like, have you ever seen someone dive down like a wet sheet or something, or down a slope? If you put the hose pipe on the covers at your cricket ground, you go sliding down. Bet you don't do that, do you, Izzy? Heather Knight to Mitali Raj, pushed into the offside, and there's no run.
My quizzical look was only because I didn't think that you said wet sheet. I thought you said something else.
No, Isabel.
Come on, Trev.
128 for 3 is the score. Heather Knight to complete the over. The captain, Raj, late cut towards backward point. There's no run. That's the end of the 32nd over. England getting through them quickly, actually. That's a bit of a tactic, certainly when Knight bowls, because you can complete an over before the batting side knows about it. And that DLS pass score is 130, and at 128 for 3, India are behind it, and Catherine Brunt is getting loose.
And for the first time today, the required run rate has just tipped over onto 6. So that's the first time in this innings, and I think that, as you say, that's a tactic from England, just to really run through these overs, at least, especially as the spinners are on.
Do you think a slight element of risk attached to Catherine Brunt returning to the attack? It seems like run scoring has seemed easier when pace has been on the ball. But still Sophie Eccleston. Harmanpreet defends around the front pad. Nat Siver races in from short mid-wicket to make sure there's no single. It's just the element of tension. That feeling of who's going to blink first. Eccleston bowls to Harmanpreet. Drive up to Anya Shrubsole. Too firm for them to consider a single.
2 dots now. I wonder what will happen now. We're seeing Knight just pushing Shrubsole, who was at mid-on, back to long-on. And tempt Harmanpreet.
This is the ebb and flow of the game, isn't it? We thought runs were coming at a trickle, but a couple of tight overs and the pressure's on India. Shorter, faster from Eccleston. Harmanpreet misses with a cut. It goes through into the gloves of Amy Jones. 3 dot balls to begin the over. England will be thinking, bowl the dots, build the pressure. Pressure will bring wickets. Like we said before, add 2 to this score. England are on top. Eccleston bowls to Harmanpreet, who this time can get the ball away up towards the long-on fielder that's just been pushed back onto the fence. 1 taken, 129 for 3. Isabel Westbury's getting greedy next to me. She wanted the maiden, I think.
No, I was just thinking about Nat Siver fielding there at mid-wicket, whether she could have been tighter. I think she knew she probably could have, because her reaction to that ball running past her, and how I might react as a bowler as well.
Long on comes into the circle again as Eccleston bowls to Mitali Raj. Mitali just seems like a little bit more adept at rotating the strike than Harmanpreet at the moment. This time it's pushed out towards deep cover for a single. 130 for 3. 1 delivery of the 33rd over remaining. 14 left after this for India to chase that target of 220. They're going to be reasonably far behind on DLS at the end of this over as Harmanpreet defends. Into the covers, and there's no run. That's a good over from Sophie Eccleston. Just the 2 singles from it, Phil. India 130 for 3 after 33. The DLS jumps to 135. Raj 31, Harmanpreet 16. Good little spell for England.
Sophie Eccleston's figures 8 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 22.
She's bowled really well throughout this whole series, to be honest. The 3 furs in the first 2 ODIs, the economy here, putting that pressure on. You feel as though she's the one that could make the breakthrough.
Heather Knight's going to continue. No wicket for 13 from the skipper. She's bowling to her opposite number, Mitali Raj, who's down the track. She squeezes it out behind square on the offside. There's work for Catherine Brunt to do. Quicker runner than Mitali Raj may have fancied a second, but she's ups against it as Brunt's throw comes in on the bounce. 131 for 3. That's just another element of pressure. India not really pushing the England fielders. Knight trots in. Harmanpreet looks for the reverse sweep. There's a appeal for LBW given, and the pressure tells. England had just begun to crank it up, and Harmanpreet Kaur was trying to manufacture something, a pretty ugly attempt at a reverse sweep. And Nigel Long, the umpire, had no hesitancy in sending her on away. Doesn't think about the review. Harmanpreet Kaur goes for 16. India are 131 for 4.
I think she does think about a review, but I'm also pretty sure that Mitali Raj says, don't you dare, because that was pretty plumb. It was one that skidded on through from Heather Knight. Harmanpreet Kaur with the premeditated reverse sweep. She stood right in front of her stumps. It was low. It was always hitting. And Harmanpreet wanted to review, and I think Mitali rightly from the other end went, no, not this time.
And that's what we were talking about, wasn't it, Isabel? That 10 or 15 minutes ago, it felt like this game, it still is to some extent, was really in the balance. But we said England take a wicket or two, they get right on top. At one point, India were trickling the runs along quite nicely, but between them, Eccleston and Knight applied a vice-like grip. They dried the boundaries up. You could arguably say that Harmanpreet Kaur shouldn't have even been on strike for that delivery, that someone else, other than Mitali Raj, would have come back for a second run the previous ball. Either way, Harmanpreet eventually had to try to release the pressure, try to free the shackles. 16 from 38 deliveries, a strike rate down there 42.
Yeah, no 4s and no 6s. The partnership had reached 50 the ball before, and then, yeah, as you say, she was LBW to Heather Knight for 16.
Players are taking a drink at the fall of the wicket. There's one of the England players down there on the floor just doing some loosening up exercises. In fact, there's 2 of them on the ground. That Amy Jones is the other one, I think.
I think Brunt is the one, isn't she, who you think is going to be getting on pretty soon.
Deepti Sharma is the new arrival, a left-hander, so that's a different sort of challenge posed to England. There's a lot of scurrying on and off from substitute fielders.
I think it would be wrong to call it now, but I reckon if I was in England camp, I would feel as though this is the point where it changes.
And if England can get Mitali Raj, they'll feel very, very comfortable, I would have thought. This gives us time while the players take a drink, just to remind you that as well as the highlights on the red button tonight, you can also see in-play highlights and clips on the BBC Sport website and app. If 9 o'clock's not a great time for you this evening because you might be watching or listening to something else on BBC Radio 5 Live, you can also catch up with the highlights on the iPlayer. I feel like the football tonight, Isabel, is just the meat in a cricket sandwich, because we've got this game here to play to a conclusion, and we'll be going quite deep, quite close, I think, to the 8 o'clock kick-off.
I'm pretty sure that that's what, when the schedulers of the Euro 2020 Men's Football Championships were scheduling it, they decided it had to fall in between.
And then there is the 3rd Men's One Day International tomorrow at Bristol between England and Sri Lanka. However, we've just seen a replay of that Harmanpreet Kaur LBW. We said it was plumb. Mitali Raj sent Harmanpreet on her way without a review, and the impact was outside the line of off stump. If she had reviewed it, it would have been overturned.
I know I've got all the evidence in front of me and I should eat humble pie and just say that that was therefore not out, but I don't trust that, but that's fine, that's interesting, and if I was Harmanpreet I'd be fuming. I think that's probably fair to say. It is a funny thing, technology, and maybe it's scuppered us all, but in the context of this game, Harmanpreet's on her way, and Deepti, left-handed batter, is at the crease.
It matters not what would have been. Here comes Knight holding to Deepti, and it's dug out into the offside. With India 1-3-1 for 4.
Did you think that was out there? I thought it was absolutely stone cold.
Yeah, I
centre.
did. But I always find that the impact ones tend to be where you can lose it a little bit, defend it into the offside. So, do you know what I mean? Sometimes your eyes can be a bit deceived by
And I
impact.
wonder because Harmanpreet moves a lot in trying to do that reverse sweep, but that just fooled us all.
Yeah, umpire
including the
included.
umpire.
Yeah, and Mitali Raj. Knight into bowl to Dipti, forward, nudging the ball back to the bowler. How many reviews have India got left, Phil? Knight at the end of her mark. Ready to come in again, round the wicket to the left-handed Sharma. Full toss, whipped away, and that's going to bring runs. Not the 4 it should have been, but just a couple, or in fact just one to Sophie Eccleston at wide, long on.
Yeah, both teams have still got 2 remaining.
So why wouldn't you use it?
Interesting. I just thought that she must have, that Mitali, just as I did, I mean, I know we're in a horrendous position here, just thought there's absolutely no way that's not out.
88 needed from 78 balls. The cut-off, apparently, according to the big screen, is midnight. I'm sure that's not right.
Yes, I've seen that. It's been like that for, I think, since the beginning of this innings, which, well...
Well, you know, I'm not really doing anything. Nothing else on tonight, is there?
Shame there aren't any floodlights around here, though.
No, well, that's a good point.
I know summer days are long and all that, but...
They ain't that long. Well, we're on the downhill now.
We're just seeing a rather filthy looking Harmanpreet in the dugout.
Well, there are some rumours of rifts in the India camp, in particular between potential leaders. So captain and vice captain being involved in something where one was not reviewing. No, it's very easy to...
I think you're just poking the fire there, Henry.
I'm just stating...
Spread the rumours, off we go.
I'm stating the facts, Isabel.
Okay.
Catherine Brunt to bowl to the left-handed Dipti Sharma. She's coming round the wicket. And that's nicely defended into the offside, but it doesn't bring the run.
No, India need 88 from 77 now. The big number we've been looking at is this Duckworth-Lewis Stern.
Yeah.
With the loss of that wicket, it's jumped up to 145. India had been keeping roughly along with that score. They're now 13 behind it.
Yeah. So that just starts to see the pressure creep up more. Brunt, a determined approach, running into bowl, defended into the offside again.
The equation that I quite like to look at as you're getting down to the last 10 overs or so is the current run rate versus the run rate required.
Yes.
And with that dot ball, it's literally just ticked over into 7s now. We talked about a couple of overs where it reached 6s per over for the first time. We're now at 7s. Now, for this India side and this tail, that's a big ask.
Brunt to Sharma, again defended, this time into the leg side. Well, what's interesting here is in the first couple of matches, India had the control of the first innings, so they didn't have to accelerate. They didn't have to necessarily push on because it was them setting a total. But here, they have to put their foot down. They've got no choice.
This is almost a sort of make or break innings for Mitali Raj.
In comes Brunt to bowl to Dipti, who swings hard at that and it flies down towards fine leg for a single. Charles Dagnall has just broken our door here. He's popped in for a cup of tea and he's managed to completely dismantle all the hard work of jamming that door open.
I mean, I knew things were tense between the radio broadcaster and the other lot on the other side in the TV commentary box, but I didn't know they were that
He's
bad.
marched in, he's ruined our door.
All right.
Daggers.
It's probably stolen a couple of biscuits as
So
well.
what I'd say, Daggers, is the way to do it is there's that crushed up coffee cup. If you wedge that underneath. Thank you. Then comes Catherine Brunt to bowl to Raj. Whip round the corner and there is no... there's a single, I should say. They've got through for the one. That was good running. 1-3-3 for 4. Here comes next delivery from Brunt with the score at 134 for 4. Goodbye to you, Charles, as well, as he heads off back round the ground. 86 needed from 73 as Brunt is into bowl to Dipti, nicely driven out towards Dunkley, who runs in from deep cover. Now the over comes to an end. 35 gone, 135 for 4. 85 needed from 72. That run rate required creeps up to 7.1.
I was saying earlier that there are shades of the World Cup final where on paper it looked as though this was a perfectly gettable total for India, but then that lower order rather fell away. At that time, it was at the hands of Anya Shrubsole.
Well, it's really interesting speaking to Mark Robinson about that day, and even now it's often used during rainfills across men's and women's cricket, the rerun of that final. And you look at the equations as it gets towards the denouement, and it's almost inconceivable that England will win at so many points from where India were. But Mark Robinson is very interesting. He says, I was never that worried because until it was, as long as it was a runner ball, we were always in with a good chance.
And I think that's kind of indicative of where India were then. I don't think they've moved on all that much since.
Because that is very much of a time, that mentality. Sarah Glenn bowling from the Diglis end. Dipti Sharma will get one into the leg side. Down towards Catherine Brunt at long leg. Slings it in to Amy Jones. 1 for 3, 6 for 4.
Now the likes of Shikha Pandey and Goswami can bat, can hit a ball. Haven't really pulled it off chasing that often. At the moment I'd feel more comfortable wearing an England shirt out there.
Yeah, and it's that thing, isn't it? How easy is it to move through the gears? Raj waits on 33. She comes down the track looking for one through the offside. Will get it. Thinks about the second, but Dunkley's so quick running in from deep cover that it won't be there. The shadows just beginning to creep across the face of that cathedral over to our left. It's not quite as bright as it was, but there's plenty of blue sky where the weather's coming from. So we may have just got away with this in terms of these afternoon showers that we talked about earlier. Glenn bowling to Dipti, clipping the ball down the ground for 1. They're rotating the strike here, India, to move to 138 for 4, without necessarily putting the foot down and really threatening England.
Well, this is where England are comfortable because they're perfectly happy with them scoring 6 singles now every over, because that's not what's required.
Yeah, fielder's in the deep, but long on deep mid-wicket, deep square leg and deep cover. It's towards that fielder at deep cover with Dunkley, where Raj will pick up her 35th run, 139 for 4.
We're now at that stage where you pretty much do need a boundary and over, and we're not seeing it. Phil, when was the last boundary?
In the 31st over, there's only been...
Dipti chips the ball up. It's just to the left of Heather Knight, who runs across the used pitches, but it's Dunkley who'll collect at deep mid-wicket. One more, 140 for 4.
Been a while.
Yeah, there's only been 1 at 4 in the last 12 overs.
And as you say, now the required rate up to 7.2. It's just building all the time. In comes Sarah Glenn. A little bit quicker, flatter. And out towards deep cover where Dunkley's been busy this over. Final ball of it brings a single. 141 for 4. And India still require 79 to win. The DLS par score stands at 154 and the required rate at 7.2. 79 needed then from the final 11 overs. India have a partnership with lots of experience and the capability, but as we look at the worm which tells us where they are in this run chase, it's just dipping below England now.
Interesting time as well, because this is when the flurry of England wickets really fell, and they rather tailed off the back end of their 47 overs.
Brunt running in. Right arm over to Raj. Happy to tickle the ball down towards the fine leg boundary. It's a good, profitable shot for Raj, and she gets 4. That's exactly the start to the over that India were looking for. And Mitali Raj moves to 40. 145 for 4.
Yeah, India have only ever chased more than this to beat England on one occasion. That was at Lord's back in 2012. They made 235 to beat England, and as we mentioned earlier, at a certain game at Lord's back in 2017, they made 219.
Chasing 230, was it? About that. Brunt is in. Again, it's onto the pads of Mitali Raj. 1 taken into the leg side. Already 5 from the over, and the required rate has just dipped under 7. 75 from 65 with 6 wickets in hand is well within the reach of any international side. It's just whether they've got the acceleration in the locker if a couple of overs go by without these scoring shots. Brunt round the wicket to the left-handed Sharma. Keeper standing up. Down the leg side it goes. Will be signalled wide as Jones sends the bails flying.
So Eccleston has 2 overs left. Kate Cross has 4 and has gone for 1 for 22 from her 6. Sarah Glenn 1 for 21 from 6. Wonder who they'll turn to next.
Brunt striding purposefully forward to Dipti Sharma, who was looking for the boundary, but Nat Siva's there at mid-wicket to stop an awkward ball that was hopping and skipping off the used pitches. And had it beaten Siva, it was going to be 4. In the end, just the 1. 1-4-8 for 4.
She probably wore one there, didn't
Yeah.
she? That's going to stink.
Brunt at the end of her mark once more, creeping in and then lengthening those strides to bowl to Raj, happy to tickle the ball into the leg side, up on the toes, flick of the wrist, and Dunkley's called into action at square leg. 1-4-9 for 4.
I'm not sure how long they'll persevere with Brunt. She's been the most expensive of the bowlers, and at the moment just bowling a little bit two-sided. It's easy for them to turn it away, isn't it? We saw that fine boundary down at fine leg. Just coming on, you feel as though it's the spinners that did it for India that really broke the back of their innings, of the England innings.
Here comes Brunt again. Well, actually, I say that, she stopped and is having a little conversation with Knight at mid-off.
Yeah, very quickly, India have scored off the last 13 balls they've faced. So they've kept that score ticking over.
Yeah, required rate just under 7 and over. 71 needed from 62 balls to get 2 points back in this multi-format series. Brunt to bowl to the left-handed Sharma. Very loopy, full toss, whipped away, could bring 4, but no. Some fabulous work in the deep from Fran Wilson. And that prevents the boundary. 150's up, 150 for 4.
Just the single, I think, off that as well, which is remarkable, really. Well fielded Fran Wilson, but India would have wanted a lot more than that. I mean, you would have pushed for 2, I'd have thought. At this stage. Waist high full toss.
And then there's a little collision between Dipti and Brunt at the end of that run. As Brunt is in, bowling to Raj, and there is a dot ball as it's punched up towards mid-off. And the fielder Kate Cross picks up. End of the over. 70 needed from the final 10. It is 150 for 4. Raj is on 42. In this innings, she has become the leading run scorer in women's international cricket. I saw comedian Chris Addison, a huge cricket fan, tweeted about it earlier. He's been keeping across the action, and there's been lots of praise and love for Mithali Raj, and it really is a remarkable achievement to have passed the sensational Charlotte Edwards. Yeah, Chris Addison saying that's it, Mithali Raj, the greatest run scorer in women's cricket. Amazing stuff. Here comes Sarah Glenn then to bowl to Dipti Sharma, looking to find the single down the ground, but it's not there. Fielders, where are they? Well, those boundary fielders are at deep backward square, deep mid-wicket, long on and deep cover. It's the leg spin of Sarah Glenn round the wicket to the left-handed Dipti Sharma, very full, chipped up towards Glenn on the bounce and collected. Alex Hartley returns.
Hello. Brought my sunglasses.
Yes.
Just to get my £5 worth.
Yeah.
Probably going to rain.
No, I think we've dodged the rain.
I think
we're okay. Glenn bowls a very short delivery. It's a poor ball that's pulled into the leg side by Dipti Sharma, but again, it's just a single. It's good work from Catherine Brunt. 151 for 4. Required rate. It's at this point in an innings, the required rate leaps up. It's now jumped to 7.3 and over.
Yeah, it's at this stage where if you don't have a couple of overs where you get 7, it jumps up to 8s, 9s, 10s, and as soon as it gets to 10s, you're gone.
Eccleston bowling to Raj, who is trying to work something, a bit of an angle, spoons off an outside edge, runs towards deep sort of backward point where it's collected by Dunkley with a couple of runs taken. It wasn't where she was looking to play the ball, but a couple of runs nonetheless. 153 for 4. At this point, as a England side, they'll be feeling pretty comfortable and confident, won't they?
Yeah, they'll feel fine. They just know that they need to have another couple of quiet overs.
Glenn into Raj, played gently down the ground for a single. 154 for 4.
The pressure's all on India here. You know, the run rate up at above 7s.
Would it be acceptable for a chasing side to fall? I'll finish that in a moment as Glenn bowls to Dipti, looking for the single down the ground, gets it up to Eccleston at long on in front of that bank of supporters. 155 for 4. If a side was to fall short but still with 5 or 6 wickets in hand.
Yeah, I think you'd rather die trying, wouldn't you, and get bowled out for, 180.
And that's not to say, because sometimes, you can try as much as you like and you just can't get it off the square, and you see that happening in all forms of cricket. But you just sense that there are more gears between these two. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, you just think, just go for it. You've got you've got nothing to lose. You've got a cricket game to lose, but the way they're going, they're going to lose anyway. So you might as well play a few more expansive shots. See if you can have a couple of big overs, because if you have a couple of big overs now, you're in with more of a chance. If you have a couple of quiet overs and the run rate gets up to 10s, it's too much to ask.
Kate Cross has been economical so far. She's got the ball again. 4 overs left for her. She's got 1 for 22 so far. And the big wicket it was too. Shafali Verma at the start of the innings. 155 for 4. Here comes Cross. And bowling and almost getting through. Sharma swung hard and missed, and it can't have been far from that off stump.
Just didn't get up that ball, did it? Deepti Sharma looking to pull the ball into the leg side. Kate Cross, and the ball just around middle stump height, just back of a length. Just again showing this pitch is probably a little bit slower than what these girls have been used to playing on.
Cross sprinting in once more. Dipti waiting, driving, but it won't be a run as Knight will run to her left to pick up. In the offside. And this is where the pressure builds. 2 dot balls at the start of the over. 65 needed from 52.
Yeah, England very much in control of this so far. I think it would all have to go wrong for England to lose.
That's not to say it can't. A couple of boundaries changes things. Dipti Sharma waiting, swinging into the leg side. There's a boundary. Flying through mid-wicket. And a forceful, meaningful punch of the gloves between Raj and Sharma. Just to say, well, come on, we can do this. 61 from 51 required.
Yeah, that's exactly what India needed. They need a couple of boundaries, a big heave across the line of the ball from Deepti Sharma, but she's played it incredibly well, and she's got to keep going if India are in with a shout of winning this cricket game.
So there's a fielder at mid-wicket, and she went aerial, so there was an element of risk to that shot. Got hold of it though, flew to the boundary.
She can bat Deepti Sharma as well, so we've seen her in the Kia Super League score runs. She can play sweep shots, reverse sweep shots, plays down the ground really nicely, so she is a dangerous batter.
Dunkley's running in. There's a little change in the field where we've got a deep third, fine leg, deep backward square and deep mid-wicket. So protection on the onside as Sharma looks to that sort of area, but it'll be Brunt to run round from mid-on to stop anything more than a single. 160 for 4, 60 needed from 50, with Raj on 45 and Sharma on 15. Sun just shining a little bit brighter now as this game builds in tension. Every dot ball seems to drag it towards England. Boundaries, and India rise again. Cross to bowl to Raj. 1 into the leg side. It's all it'll be. Sprinting in comes Sophia Dunkley. Throws in on the bounce. 161 for 4. Just had a very retro sweep, didn't we, at the back of the box?
Oh, yes, so good. The ones with little messages on the top of them.
Amber, part of our team, has a big pack of those love hearts. You know, those ones that say the little messages on them. Cross to bowl to Dipti. Nudged into the leg side for 1. Cry of 2 early, but it's not going to be there. Throw comes in from the boundary edge. And it is 162 for 4. So, the equation, 58 from 48. End of the over.
I didn't realise you were offering me a sweet when you just said be mine.
No, that was very much. I then pointed at it and said, "You should be so lucky, Alex." Right, is that Daniel Norcross time? I think it is. I'm getting out the way.
He's ready.
And Daniel will take up commentary.
I think we're going to see another change in bowling from the far end. I can't quite work out who it is because my eyesight, I think I've got the eyesight of a 72-year-old woman at the minute. Nat Siver. Thank you. So, I mean, the spinners have been very economical today in both teams as well. India bowled well with the spin. England have also bowled well. We're going to see Natsiva broke back into the attack.
I'm intrigued by this, Alex. I'm intrigued. Because there are going to be 2 overs of Eccleston. Of that, there is no doubt, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So, does Anya Shrubsole get another bowl? She's only bowled 4 overs here. Heather Knight's used a lot of options. She's used 7 bowlers today, which gives her a lot of leeway. Here comes Siva round the wicket to the left-handed Dipti, who drives into the offside past the diving Heather Knight. They'll run away towards the boundary. It will be cut off. They'll come back for 2. And this game is bubbling up now, I tell you. 164 for 4 India. Duckworth Lewis Stern par is 169 at the end of this over. There are 56 required from 47 balls. 2 batters very much in, and Sharma's just hit a wonderful shot through mid-wicket the previous over. Siva into her from around the wicket, and that balloons off the bat and into Siva's hands. Caught and bowled, she's got to go. It was a strange one that I think the ball might have stopped at her. She propped forward, did Dipti, and just spooned back the easiest of return chances to Nat Sifa, who's come back into the attack, picked up her first wicket. India are 164 for 5. The pendulum swings back in the other direction.
Just when you thought India were building a partnership, Deepti Sharma looks to turn that into the leg side, gets a leading edge and chips it straight to Nat Siva. Couldn't have been a simpler catch for Siva, and things are just going England's way again.
Well, they are, and that changes the equation. That changes the Duckworth Lewis Stern equation. It changes all the equations as Shikhar Pandey is going to come out to bat at number 7, I think. Or is it? Might be Sneh Rana who's coming in. Sneh Rana's going to come in at 7. But Sharma, we were talking about this, Isabel and I, about on this particular pitch, you feel like the people who prosper are the ones who are waiting for the ball to come to them, likes of Mandana, to a degree Mithali Raj today. People who just have the time to wait for it, manipulate it. Anyone who's gone after the bowling has come unstuck. And Dipti's without a doubt somebody who comes after you. She comes at you, doesn't she?
Yeah, she comes hard, does Deepti Sharma. And again, she's just looking to turn the ball into the leg side and get a single, keep the run rate ticking over. Just wasn't meant to be. Pretty poor shot.
Good bowling change though. We're wondering, what about Anya Shrubsole? I'm not sure she need come back on. Looking at the options here, there's 3 available overs from Kate Cross, 2 available overs from Eccleston. That makes 5. That's 3 other overs to find, and well, Siva's bowling one of them now. We shall see which way Heather Knight goes. So Sneh Rana faces a first ball from Siva. Comes in, it's full, just defended into the onside. This is a problem now for India. They cannot afford to have somebody just giving themselves time to get in, because if that rate gets up to 9 and 10, we've seen how hard it is at any stage in this match to really pile on runs. Oof. It's tense and it's taut. Siva is in. Rana defends again, pushing back up the wicket. No run. 3 balls, no runs. Alex Hartley.
Yep, and this is where things get out of hand for India. Yes, you've got to get yourself in, so Rana has to, get in before she can start going for the big heaves and trying to find the boundary, but they have to find the boundary early in their over here, India. Here
is Siva. Rana, cuts, gets an under edge and so nearly drags the ball back on. Amy Jones has to run to collect the ball. They get a fortuitous single off the inside edge. 165 for 5. Requirement now 55 to win from 43 balls. When this over started, the rate was 7 and over, with 1 ball left in the over. Is that right? 1 ball left in the over. Then it's just a tick under 8 if this is a dot ball. Mithali Raj on strike. Be looking for a single, you'd think here. She guides this ball to backward point. Can't beat Tammy Beaumont. Another dot ball, so 55 required from 7 overs. That is just about 8 and over required. Raj has 46, Rana has 1. And I imagine it'll be Kate Cross to continue. She's having a great one-day series, isn't she, Kate Cross?
Yeah, she is as well. She's worked really hard to get herself back in to the frame to play one-day cricket for England. She quite often has been seen as a red ball bowler and then not played in the previous test matches that were played, so she's worked incredibly hard to become that first change bowler. And for the North West Sunday she does open the bowling, but she's had to adapt her game, and it's nice to see her mainly playing with a smile on her face because she's had some ups and downs with cricket. But yeah, she's bowling incredibly well, and we're just going to see her here get her hair tie out of her sock because she's just snapped one.
Is that?
She likes to keep them in her socks.
She keeps hair ties in her socks. So, well, I suppose we're going to put them somewhere.
Well, she doesn't want them to look like something else in her pocket.
Oh, I see. Okay, you like to have nice clean lines. It's like why you won't put keys in there.
Yep.
Or a wallet. I see.
I mean, you'd do well to play with keys in your pocket.
I did do once, it was a disaster. Cross is in. First ball's driven nicely out into the offside. I'll pick up a single. I'd completely forgotten I'd left my keys. Dive for the ball. Went down really hard on it.
Oh.
Key jabbed into my thigh. Oh, that was one of the more painful things I've ever done, actually.
I batted with my phone in my pocket.
Oh no, don't do that.
Yep, I know. I had to give it the umpire.
Yes. Well, at least you remembered at that point. 166 for 5, 54 required for victory as Raj just works this ball gloriously through mid-wicket. That's going to run away towards the boundaries for 4. Exactly what India needed. An expert shot, that is a little too short from Cross. And Mitali Raj was able to get across the stumps and then just work the ball through mid-wicket to the delight of our Indian contingent over here, colourfully garbed, waving their flags. India, well, they fight back. A much-needed boundary, and Mitali Raj
50 from 68 balls. It's the first 50 in this game. It's her 4th consecutive 50 in ODIs.
Here's Cross into Raj, who drives elegantly through extra cover. Is that going to make it to boundary? Won't. A good diving stop, splendid diving stop from Fran Wilson. Will keep them to 2.
It's
Raj
her,
to 52.
sorry Dan, it's her 20th against England and the 65th time in ODI she's passed 50.
How many times did she get 100 again? 7.
7.
Thank you. Well, 48 now required from 39 balls. The equation tightens again. Cross in to Raj, who pushes forward. Defence really goes up to Brunt at mid-off. There's no run. I mean, I do not know how on this wicket she's got to her 50 12 balls quicker than she did on really quite a good surface the other day. This is a tougher pitch to bat on, isn't it?
Also, the equation of today's game requires her to go a lot faster, and if she didn't from the start, a team would have been out of the contention.
Cross in, Raj drives square of the wicket. She's going to get just the 1 for it though, as Fran Wilson subbing for, we think, Lauren Winfield Hill picks up a single. Raj moves to 53, brings Rana back onto strike. 47 required from 37, so 8 have come from this over, which is the requirement.
And then the game swings the run rate back down to 7.5. I love cricket when it's like this.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great? Cross into Rana. Rana just works this into the onside. She'll get a single as Nat Siver's very deep the circle at mid-wicket. And that's just a little dab, push, end of the over. Kate Cross's 8th over comes to an end. Now, when do you bowl the Eccleston overs? There's 2 up her sleeve for Heather Knight. There's 7 remaining to be bowled. Do you leave her to the death, or do you prize out a wicket or 2 here?
I mean, she has been bowling at the death for England.
Yep.
But she's your strike bowler, she's your best bowler. Do you take the risk and give her an over? Hope that she can break this partnership and get Mitali Raj?
Or even if she just bowls it over, goes for sort of 2 runs at this point, then 46 off 6 takes that rate, back up. Right, 48 required. Is that right? 48 required from 6 overs. Is that right? Yes, we've got 6 overs. We've got a slight scoreboard malfunction away to our left. So, is it working? It's working on the right-hand side. That one's harder for me to read for some reason. I don't quite know why. Here comes Siver, starting a new over. That's driven by Rana. Straight back down the ground. Good diving stop. Prevents more than 1 run. Fine work out there on the boundary by Kate Cross, who is everywhere in this series. 1 more to Rana.
A brilliant bit of fielding that for Kate Cross, stopping the boundary. Rana going up and over Siver's head, and Cross sliding in the deep to stop the 4.
Good shot from Rana. It's not been easy to play those lofted drives today. Siver in again to Raj. who pushes forward into the offside and manages to find that gap square of the wickets. Fired via Dunkley. Comes in off the boundary to field on the bounce. Back to the keeper, one more to the total, 176 for 5, 44 to win. From 34 balls, my head's having to go from a monitor to that screen to this, whatever.
It's all going on.
Yeah, I'm sort of moving my head around like a muppet at the moment.
Well, the India fans feel like India are on top. They're loud and about.
Siva into Rano. Nice, tickles this away, but a good diving stop at short fine leg. How important that was. Saves 3 runs from Sarah Glenn. She's up in the ring at short fine leg. It's a perilous position to be in if Siva bowls a ball on the pads. Gone any finer would have been 4, but it's only 1. 43 off 33, sorry.
Great diving stop for Sarah Glenn. Just putting her body on the line. Everybody getting up and about. Tammy Beaumont running over to her to say well fielded.
Siva in now to Raj, and Raj works this ball into the onside. She'll only get a single for it though as it goes out to deep square leg. 42 required from 32 balls.
They're never easy to stop those ones at short fine leg as well.
Oh yeah, well you'd know a lot about that.
Yeah, they're normally 4 when they go they go in.
I've never liked it there. In club cricket, that area is always really kind of bumpy as well, I find. It's not the flat surface that you get around the square. It's all sort of tufty, it's all kind of football pitchy. Get one in the teeth.
It's one of my bigger fears in life, that, eating a cricket ball.
I know what you mean. Rana facing up now. She just comes forward and pushes the ball to backward point, but goes straight to Tammy Beaumont, who's swift to the ball. A precious dot ball for England. 1 ball remains in this over, then there are 5 overs left. Then I'd be inclined to over of Eccleston at that point, maybe. If I were Knight, we shall see. She's got plenty of options up her sleeve. Here is Siva. Rana sweeps, can you believe it? Oh! And it's going to run away for 4. She got a toe end of the bat on it. It went in the air, but quite flat. And Sarah Glenn decided she was going to try and dive forward and take that catch, and it bounced just in front of her, evaded her grasp and ran away down to the boundary. Again the match switches. 182 for 5 India. They require a further 38 from 5 overs, and now I'm sort of putting them in the box seat.
Yeah, Sarah Glenn there, not knowing if she should go for the catch or stop the boundary. She went for the catch. The ball just bounced in front of her. We were just saying how difficult it is to field there, and that proving exactly why it is.
Right, well, look who's coming under bowl. It's going to be Eccleston. Alex Hartley's just pointed out something to me, that at exactly the same stage in England's innings, England were 182 for 6, India are 182 for 5, and then Kate Cross hit that 6. How important might that prove to be in the final reckoning? We shall see. Now, what do you do there? We're just looking at that last ball there and thinking the percentages for Sarah Glenn is the weight, isn't it? But it just looks bad if you don't go for it, because it was close enough to her.
Yeah, you have to go for the catch, because you take a wicket at this stage of the game, it flips it again, doesn't it?
Yep.
So it's just one of those things, but you got your wish, and we've got Sophie Eccleston.
Yes, I have got my wish. I think it's the right move. Rana's just adjusting her gloves, just taking a bit of time out of the game. And as a result, Sophie Eccleston bowls a couple of practice balls to Nat Siva.
She don't need the practice.
She doesn't, does she? You used to be able to do that many years ago, 100 years ago, when a new batter came in. You could bowl unlimited practice balls on a strip next to the wicket. As Eccleston starts this over, full toss is driven up to long off, where Kate Cross will do the fielding. 1 more to the total. 183 for 5, 37 more required to win from 29 balls. Now Rana is on strike. We would see a field change. Deep backward square goes out. Fine leg is up inside the ring. 3 in the ring on the offside. There's a short fine leg and a straightish, short-ish mid-wicket. So the first delivery that she faces from Eccleston, she works nicely out to Brunt at deep mid-wicket, underarms it back. 1 more to the total. 184 for 5.
Brunt's at deep cover to the left. No, she's at deep mid-wicket to Mitali Raj, and she just found herself a little bit too square.
Eccleston into Raj, who works this ball, but it's a quicker, flatter ball from Eccleston, who nearly got a woman there because She turned her wrists on it. The ball was in the air for a little bit, then just rolled up to Siva. There's no run. 2 off the first 3 balls. 36 needed from 27 balls. Eccleston waits and then comes in to Raj. Raj works this nicely. Good on drive up to mid-on, long on, where Shobsol does the fielding. 1 more to the total. 35 from 26 now.
This is where Eccleston can really kill the game here for England. If she bowls her 2 overs and only goes for 4 or 5.
She's into Rana. Rana just pushes that out, but she can beat the field. It goes up to long off for another single. Have we had 4 off this over so far, Phil? 4 off 5 balls. 34 required from 25. This feels like it's going to the wire, Alex.
Good, I like a game like that.
Yeah, I hope Stefan's clearing his throat, getting ready.
He's raised his eyebrows.
Has he? Can't say to blame him. Oh, straight through. This goes straight through Mitali Raj, and Amy Jones couldn't get a glove on it. As a result, they've scampered through for a couple of byes. It was full, very full, block hole delivery, really, which I don't think Raj got. What happened there? It was an edge, was it? There was an edge.
No byes were given, so...
No byes, right. But it looked... I need to see this one. Let's have a look at this again. It was very full. Oh, she did, looking to turn the ball into the onside. Thick edge, and it goes past Amy Jones. A slip would have taken that, but you're not having a slip at this stage for obvious reasons. 32 required to win from 4 overs. That's 8 and over, yes, but plenty of wickets in hand. If a wicket were to fall, I just love games when they go like
this. Me too.
We haven't had one of these, have we?
No, we haven't.
I don't think the men haven't had one, the women haven't had one. It's been quite one-sided games so far this summer, both in the Test matches and in the white balls. England have had their scares, I'd say, occasionally, both the men and the women, but ultimately they've come out easily on top as Siva starts a new over, and that's hacked at by Sneha Rana, and she gets enough bat on it for the ball to roll to long on for a single. 31 required from 23.
Was a hack that. That's exactly what that shot was. I think she was looking to go offside and just a filthy shot.
Now where's Raj going to go? There's a long on back, but mid off is up. Short third is Anya Shobsol and short fine leg. So those 2 are up in the rings. Well, we've got deep mid wicket. Sweeper on the offside. Siva's in. It's high in the air. Out over extra cover. That's a wonderful shot from Raj. 4 to Mitali Raj. Catherine Brunt could get nowhere near that. She's quite square at deep point. She had to make 15-20 yards to her right, and the ball was hit so powerfully to boundary. 193 for 5. 27 needed from 22.
A beautiful shot that from Mitali Raj, and a well-needed boundary. She's given herself room and lofted it up and over extra cover. Catherine Brunt at deep cover's got absolutely no chance stopping that.
Glorious shot. She moves to 63. Siva into her again. And next delivery, she just works it as easy as you like. It's a massive space on the onside. Aerially, but there was no fielder there. And she picks up a single. That's all she wanted. 64 she moves to. 26 required from 21 balls. 3 overs to come after this. There'll be 1 from Eccleston. Who knows where the other 2 are coming from. Siva, top of the mark, runs in now to Rana. Rana comes down the wicket and drives forcefully through mid-off. It's going to go to the boundary, is it? It is! Despite the dive from Kate Cross, who had an awful lot of ground to make up from long on. That's another wonderful shot. India are getting closer and closer. They're on top now. 22 needed from 20 balls. 2 boundaries coming in this over. Great enterprising batting from Rana.
What a shot as well. Stepping outside the line of leg stump, giving herself room to hit through mid-off. Mid-off is up inside of the ring. She gets hold of it, goes past Nat Siva. And just a token dive from Kate Cross, because she was never going to stop that.
England need a wicket from somewhere. Where can they find one? Can they find one? Siva into Rana, who dabs this, but being a bit too clever there, looking for the little dab onto the onside for the single. She gets a leading edge, runs up to the offside. Siva fields of her own bowling. Dot ball, 22 from 19. 1 more ball in this Siva over.
India need a boundary here, really, because you've got another over from Sophie Eccleston.
Has she got a free hit, do you think? Is this a free hit, basically, for Rana? She's facing up now. Well, she thought it was. She got trapped on a pad. Ball rolls to short fine leg. Throw comes in at the non-striker's end. No, it's been not backed up. Oh dear, Eccleston. She's only given away one run, but she's given away one run when there could have been no run off that. Wait to see the umpire's signal. Whatever it is, it's 2 more to the total. India 200 for 5 at the end of that over. Raj 64, Rana 16. They only require 20 now from the last 18 balls. Thoughts from Alex Hartley, and to take you through to the end of a pulsating encounter. It's going to be a man whose pulse I've felt many times, Stefan Shevelt.
Yeah, rookie error that from Sophie Eccleston. Sarah Glenn going for the run out at the non-striker's end. The ball trickled to Eccleston. She was so casual about it. The ball went through her legs. They only got the one overthrow. And we're going to see the return of Catherine Brunt, so we're going to see Sophie Eccleston to bowl the last of the day.
How are we all doing?
I'm good. 20 needed from 18 balls. This is the contest we've been after.
The evening may be full of sporting drama. It starts here. New Road, Worcester, third one-day international. India need 220 to beat England. They're 200 for 5. 20 from 18 balls required. The scoreboard got stuck halfway through the 41st over. That's no use to us. And here comes Catherine Brunt, bowling to Mitali Raj. Short outside the off stump. Raj pushes it into the covers and sets off for a single. She moves on to 65. The first lady of Indian cricket, the leading run scorer in women's international cricket history. She took that record today. She's leading her team home at the moment. 65 from 80 deliveries, 201 for 5, 19 from 17 balls. Raj being ably supported by Sneh Rana, who has 16. Glorious sunshine at New Road. You wouldn't believe that this game was delayed by 90 minutes by rain in a wet outfield. And Brunt pumping her arms towards Sneh Rana, who cuts hard straight at Tammy Beaumont. There's another misfield. Should have been a dot ball, but India get through for a single. England nervous, jittery in the dying stages of this game. 202 for 5. Tammy Beaumont raises up a hand to the sun as if to say, I couldn't see it. I think you could, Tammy.
She did go the wrong way to start, and then just a little misfield, but this is where England will learn the most. They're under the pump. They haven't been under the pump at all this series.
18 from 16 required. Mitali Raj on strike. Brunt bowls, slower ball down the leg side. Raj paddle sweeps. There's work for the long leg fielder to do. It's Sophie Eccleston. Raj thinks about a second run. It's not there. I think she's right to turn it down, Mitali Raj. Score moves on to 203 for 5, 17 from 15. You say England have not been under the pump this series. I can't think of a time in the winter when they were under pressure. They weren't under the pressure when the West Indies were in Derby last year. This is a long time since England have felt a sort of the adrenaline of a close contest. Here goes Brunt to Sneh Rana. They want a single again. Tammy Beaumont picks it up. Throw comes in, but Mitali Raj backing up a long way is through for the single. 16 from 14. Equilibrium maintained so far at the beginning of this 45th over. 4 singles from it so far. Is that right, Phil? 204 for 5, 16 from 14 required. Everything just goes still and quiet as Mitali Raj makes us wait. Now the noise starts. Catherine Brunt cheered to the crease. Another slower ball. Raj turns it round the corner. Sophie Eccleston, ponytail flapping behind her, does the fielding down there at long leg. I think there might have been a second run there. The throw wasn't the strongest from Eccleston. She had to run round it as well and throw with her left hand. That's a number of times Mitali Raj has turned down 2 when I can think of at least 3 or 4 occasions. 205 for 5, 15 from 13. Hard to criticise her though. She's winning this game for India at the moment.
Yeah, the last thing India need now is a run out. A game like this, you need to take it as deep as possible. You need to take it all the way into the last over.
5 singles so far off the over. Brunt to complete it. She's charging into Sneh Rana and bowls slower ball. Rana, huge swipe, looking to go downtown. That was there for the shot, really. No timing. Inside half of the bat. Trickles out towards mid-wicket. Single taken. 206 for 5 is the score. 14 required from 12 balls. 6 singles from that Catherine Brunt over. I'd call that a score draw, Alex.
A score draw, yeah, nice. Well, now I thought Sophie Eccleston was going to bowl the last over, but she's not. She's going to bowl the most important over, the penultimate. This, quite often in cricket games, is where the game is won or lost, in the penultimate over.
And it's going to. Do you think it'll be Brunt with the last over?
Yep. This is a huge moment. Sophie Eccleston bowling the most important over of this series so far. India need 14 from 12 deliveries.
Sneh Rana's on strike. She holds her bat to the sky, then rests it on the inside of her thigh as she just adjusts her batting gloves. Catherine Brunt is trotting back towards long off. There's an extra cover point and a backward point in the ring, a short fine leg, then a deep square leg, a deep mid wicket, one fielder saving one in front of square on the onside, and a long on. Sophie Eccleston, 1 for 28 from her 9 overs, waits. Amy Jones, the wicketkeeper's got her hands on her knees. Now she goes down as Eccleston bowls. Rana's down the track, heaving up straight up towards long on for a single. She wanted more than that, Rana. But Eccleston was clever. She saw her coming, dragged it down a touch. One taken, 207 for 5, 13 from 11.
Now, interesting field change here. Square leg comes up short, fine comes to short third. They know Mitali Raj doesn't sweep, she doesn't paddle.
So the offside's packed. Eccleston walks in. Raj, uppish cover drive over towards the gap out there on the offside. There's work for Tammy Beaumont to do coming round. They're coming back for the second run. They get home. Tammy Beaumont had to get round to her right. Sneh Rana, crucially, was the one running to the danger end, because we've seen Raj turn down those second runs. 11 from 10. Lovely shot from Mitali Raj. She's on to 69, 209 for 5.
I thought she got hold of that off the bat then. I thought she'd absolutely nailed that over extra cover for 4, but she hadn't. Brilliant work in the deep by Tammy.
Eccleston behind the sunglasses to Raj. Shorter, quicker. Raj spots it. Instead of... She maybe had time to swivel on the pull shot, but she played with a straight bat up towards long on for a single. 220 the target. 210 for 5 is the score. 10 from 9. This third one-day international between England and India. It's been the best contest of the tour so far. Sneh Rana waits. Eccleston bowls aerially down the ground. Long on's underneath it. And is it Caken? It's hard to tell from here. I think it's been dropped. Eccleston's got her hands on her head. It's gone for something. 4 or 6. Umpire Nigel Long, he wants some signal or a replay from the third umpire. It was Kate Cross down there on the boundary. Alex Hartley's got her hands on her head.
That's the game. If that has gone for 6, that is the game. A fielding error from Kate Cross. She's not judged the ball well at all. She's completely missed it.
4
runs.
It just evaded the grasp of Cross. Her arms were outstretched in front of her as she ran around to her right. Maybe could have dived, but so hard when you're running at full speed. The upshot is 214 for 5, 6 from 8 required. Balance of power really in India's favour. That was the furthest part of the ground from us. So hard to tell whether the ball got into Cross's hands or not. Eccleston bowls to Rana, who drives up towards mid-wicket. Dot ball, precious dot ball for England. Tumbling Nat Siva does the fielding. That's what England needed after the boundary. 6 from 7, 214 for 5. Eccleston's last ball of the match. He's been immense. Now she's into Sneh Rana. She bowls. Rana sweeps. That's gone fine towards Boulder. Well, I thought that'd come off the bat or the pad and there was going to be a single taken, but instead Sneh Rana's been bowled around her legs. Huge moment in the game. England strike just when they needed it. Rana goes for 24. And India will need 6 from the last over to beat England.
It was the right thing to do from Rana, that searching for the boundary, trying to kill the game in the penultimate over. If you can win the game in the penultimate over, take all the pressure off that final over. But Eccleston just attacking the stumps, bowling full and straight. Rana trying to create something, trying to sweep the ball into the leg side, just misses it, and it takes the top of leg stump. Sorry. And 6 off 6 here. This is a huge over. I think we're going to see Catherine Brunt bowl it. The veteran of the game, 36 years old yesterday. So much pressure on her.
Well, I'll admit I was just watching where the ball was going there. I hadn't seen the leg stump angling back. It looked like it'd come off a bit of pad or a bit of bat and that India were going to take the single. But then England were celebrating, almost out of relief really, because that boundary that Rana hit 2 balls previously looked like it had killed the game. But instead Eccleston, with her final 2 balls of the match, came back with a dot and then bowled Rana around her legs to keep this contest bubbling up. 6 from 6. Julan Goswami is the new arrival.
Yeah, once again a partnership reached 50, exactly 50. Then a wicket fell, as you mentioned. Here's Julan Goswami to join Mitali Raj. Catherine Brunt bowling.
Well, what a finale we have here. 6 runs from 6 balls required.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch.
2 38-year-old batters, 36-year-old bowler. It's a young ladies' game, this.
3 veterans, 3 women who've seen absolutely everything in the game. Catherine Brunt, England's all-time leading wicket taker. Mitali Raj, the all-time leading run scorer in women's cricket. India 214 for 6. Remember, this game's 47 overs aside. 6 runs required from 6 balls. Here comes Brunt, bowling to Mitali Raj. Short, Raj forces towards point. Tammy Beaumont, long hair flapping behind her, scrabbles around on the floor and does the fielding to make sure it's only 1 run. Vital stop, because if that had got past Beaumont, there was no one behind her. It would have been 2 at least. But instead, just a single taken. India go on to 215 for 6. They need 5 from 5. Bit of a chance this for England to bowl at Goswami, who's yet to face a ball.
So much pressure on Goswami here. She's got so much experience. She's been in these situations before. So has Catherine Brunt. So has Mitali Raj.
Fielder runs out to deep cover. Nat Siver at mid-wicket is having a conversation with Brunt, who's now placing Sophie Eccleston down there at long leg. The sun's dipped behind a cloud. The 2 girls just in front of our commentary position waving a cross of St George flag. Here comes Brunt, bowls to Goswami. It's short. Goswami's got to get a single to square leg. It didn't look pretty, but she somehow got inside half of the bat into a vacant region on the square. And India stay favourites. 4 from 4 balls, 216 for 6. We don't have a super over, do we? It's just a tie, 1 point each. A lot of blank faces looking at me at the
I thought the last ICC meeting had said all ODIs would end in a super over now.
Right, Phil, we're going to need to know that.
The change in field here. Cover is coming up. Mid-wicket's going out for Mitali Raj. And you just sense that Mitali Raj will try and hit the ball through the covers and end this game.
4 required then. 1 hit for India. Brunt bowls to Mitali Raj, who drives into the covers. It's in the gap. There's going to be a chase for the fielder back there, but they're not going to get there. Mitali Raj has won this for India with a cover drive for 4. India win the 3rd one-day international by 4 wickets with 3 balls to spare. And it's Mitali Raj, the first lady of Indian cricket, the leading run scorer in women's international history, has done it with 75 not out. A fantastic game in New Road. And India closed the gap in the multi-format series. It's down to 6-4 with 3 T20s to come. Alex Hartley, what a fantastic contest.
What a game. It looked like England were in control throughout. India took the game as deep as they can. And I just knew, as soon as cover came up, I just knew that Mitali Raj was going to play through the covers. She's so strong through the covers. And you just think, I'm not really sure that was the right thing to do for Catherine Brunt. She knows it. She's got her hands on her knees. She can't believe it. But as you say, India have kept this series alive. And what a game. We haven't had a contest throughout this series so far. Today was the day, and India win by 4 wickets.
Brunt couldn't really bring herself to be surrounded by her teammates then. She had to walk away. And like you say, she had her hands on her knees. She's still out there now as the rest of the players make their way off the field. She's got a hand covering her eyes. Sophie Eccleston's gone up to her. I think it's Sarah Glenn actually who's gone up to her to put her arm around her shoulders. Brunt just got a little fist bump from Mitali Raj and from Julan Goswami. Those 3 veterans who've seen it all. But on this occasion, it's Mitali Raj who's got one over Catherine Brunt. And Raj now is just leading both teams off. And you'll hear the applause that the captain is getting from her teammates. It's her third successive half century in this one-day international series, but the first one that's been made in a winning cause. Some knock, Alex.
Some knock. Credit to Mitali Raj, the leading run scorer in women's cricket. I'm gutted for the England girls, absolutely gutted, but the series is still alive. And what a game of cricket. Mitali Raj, we've been slagging her off this whole this whole series, but she's done her team. She's got her team over the line, her fastest 50 so far, not ever, but of this series, and her fourth in a row, Phil.
Yeah, fourth in a row, and towards the end of that innings she went past 2,000 ODI runs against England. You know, we've said about her scoring rate, but also when that score was on the board, who would you rather have there marshalling that innings?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it, isn't it? We're saying she's too slow, she goes about her batting innings too slow. They need to look at the next generation of cricketer. And we're not necessarily wrong, but when push comes to the shove and your team's under the pump like they have just been, you want a veteran of the game there. You want somebody who knows how to win cricket games when you look like you're out of it. And that is exactly what Mitali Raj has done here this evening.
This game was reduced to 47 overs a side after rain in Worcester overnight, a wet outfield and a wet square this morning. India won the toss. They asked England to bat. They bowled them out for 219. Contributions from Heather Knight 46, Nat Siva 49. Deepti Sharma, the off-spinner, took 3 for 47. At one point England were 151 for 3. So it was a reasonable collapse for them to be bowled out for 219. India in the chase. Shafali Verma made 19 before she was removed by Kate Cross. Jemima Rodriguez never got going before she was bowled by Sophie Eccleston for 4. Smriti Mandan, a classy 49, was LBW to Sarah Glenn. Harmanpreet Kaur 16, LBW to Heather Knight. Deepti Sharma was caught and bowled by Nat Siva for 18. And Sneh Rana really added some impetus at the end there, supporting Mitali Raj before she was bowled by Sophie Eccleston in the penultimate over. All along, Mandana, Harmanpreet, Deepti, Rana, they were with Mitali Raj, the India captain, who was finally joined by Julian Goswami, who was one not out at the end. But it was Mitali Raj, 75 not out from 86 deliveries with 8 boundaries, who saw her team home. Catherine Brunt, the England seamer, 7.3 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 45. It was Brunt who conceded that final boundary that ended the game. Anya Shrubsole, 4 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 21. Kate Cross, impressive with the ball again, 8 overs, no maidens, 1 for 38. Sophie Eccleston, she's becoming the real leader of this England attack, really. 10 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 36. Sarah Glenn, 7 overs, no maidens, 1 for 26 with her leg breaks. Nat Siva, 1 for 34 from 6, and Heather Knight, the captain, 1 for 15 from 4. Alex, these two sides have played 4 matches now, 1 test match, 3 one-day internationals. This is the first time that India, I don't want to say have competed.
No, it is.
Yeah, is that the right way to say it? That's the first time they've competed, and yet they're only 2 points behind in the multi-format series. T20 is India's strongest format. First T20 in Northampton on Friday night. Got quite 3 games ahead of us, haven't we? We have. We've got,
you go into the T20s and India are probably favourites for the T20s. You'd have said for the one-day stuff, England. I say it's the first time I've seen India compete. In the Test match, they brought themselves back into it, didn't they? They batted for the whole 3rd, 4th day and brought themselves back into the game. So in that sense, they competed there. But England have been dominant throughout this ODI series, and they even looked dominant today. They lost quick wickets. They were probably 30, 40 runs shy of where they should have been. They built a good platform, but the wicket was a little bit tacky at the start, and it was a really tough first hour for England. But they're series winners in this tiny little multi-format series that we've got. So they're ODI winners, but they'd have been going for the whitewash. But India, they've kept the series alive.
Yeah, the two sides have met 32 times now in ODIs in England. That's only India's 6th win, so quite a significant victory for India today.